Hawaii just for taking the first step, but you must call now. With 2 convenient locations in Layton and Sandy, help is closer than you think. Call 801-804-8000 now. That's 801-804-8000. Mint Medical Clinic. We'll get you back to mint condition.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Emergency traffic and weather brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Heather?
We are looking at stop traffic almost 5 miles now, northbound I-15 from 700 South in Clearfield up to Riverdale Road, where a rollover crash is still blocking the 2 left lanes of the freeway. So only 1 right lane getting through there. A lot of people have been rubbernecking that heading southbound, so things are well under the speed limit coming out of Ogden toward the Roy area. You also have delays still northbound I-15 trying to get out of Utah County with a crash at the point of the mountain on the left shoulder. A new crash northbound 15 right near 90th South in Sandy. It looks like that one's over on the right shoulder, but it is adding to extra delays trying to get into downtown Salt Lake City. Head to Logan for funky fall fun. Gargantuan gourds at the Giant Pumpkins Festival. Beautiful canyon colors, ghost tours, and harvest festivals are on their way. Autumn adventures await. Explore logan.com/fall. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today will be sunny with highs in the low 80s. More of the same tomorrow with some clouds moving in. Chance of a shower this weekend. Right now it's 63 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Some developing and really troubling news out of Utah County. There was a traffic accident created by a truck yesterday, or at least involving a truck yesterday, about 11:15 on I-15 in Linden, just south of Salt Lake County. A truck was involved in a crash. A truck with a trailer was driven by a person by the name of Jacob Scott. And during the course of the investigation into that accident, police saw what they thought were some people. They saw the eyes of some people in the trailer of the truck. They were able to go into the truck and to the trailer, and they found 2 girls. Now, these are young kids, Holly. These are young girls, and the temperature that the officer found, it was a refrigerated trailer, and the temperature was 29.5 degrees Fahrenheit inside. There was some bedding inside, and the 2 little girls were in there. I mean, this is just really troubling on so many levels.
Right. I mean, I heard about the accident yesterday. It affected Alpine School District kids getting home, and so I kept getting notifications that from transportation, because our child goes to Alpine School District, right? You expect delays, and there's long delays, and I was shocked actually to see this story. And then to look at this probable cause statement that they saw little eyeballs. They're 14 and 12. I mean, they're young teens, but in a truck that's 30 degrees, there was some bedding in there. There was no way for them to get out. Like there was no possible exit.
There's no door from the inside of the refrigerated trailer.
Right.
So there's no way out. And the truck had left. They'd been in there since they left Huntington, Utah.
At least a couple hours, right?
Yeah, and so the police did a Google map search and found that the fastest way you could get from Huntington to Linden, where they were stopped, would have been 2 hours.
Yeah, that's really, really cold. So tell us a little bit more about what this person was charged with. It was the driver of the truck, right?
Right. And so he's obviously presumed innocent right now, and he has not been formally charged with anything yet, although he has been arrested.
Arrested for?
Right. Yeah, I get too nitpicky here, but he's in the Utah County Jail and has been arrested for, unless he's bailed out just in the last little while, what we call aggravated child abuse. And it's a third-degree felony, which is our lowest level of felony. Now, the county attorney, the poor county attorney in Utah County, if he didn't have enough to do, is going to have to take a look at this case and decide what level of crime to charge. Because child abuse is one of those crimes in Utah that we charge based on not only the severity of the injury, which in this case was potentially serious, but the mindset of the perpetrator. So if you spank your kid and you cause injury, it may be a lesser crime. But if you intentionally try to hurt your child,
right?
So we have these levels of mental conduct. You intentionally hurt, you recklessly hurt, or you negligently hurt your child. The severity of the crime is punished by your mindset, so to speak. I know it's kind of weird. So what they're saying is that he was reckless. So he didn't intend to cause them injury, although he did intend to put them in a refrigerated truck. Now this is a police probable cause statement. The prosecutor's going to look at this.
There might be more to this story.
Yeah, and so the prosecutor's going to have to take a look at it and say, what do we want to do here? My guess is they'll charge it at least that level, maybe even more serious.
Well, okay, let me ask you why. I mean, I guess there have to be ongoing interviews and things, but why would they not charge this as a kidnapping?
Well, that's a good question. I'm guessing that the kids are related to him, or for some reason they were. I mean, if you take your own children for a ride in your car, but you put them in the refrigerated compartment.
Oh,
in the back
come
of the car.
on!
I don't know.
That's a stretch.
Because kidnapping means without their consent. I mean, they were put in a refrigerated car without their consent, but they weren't transported without their consent. I mean, I don't know. We don't know what the relationship between him and the girls was.
We do know there was a passenger, though, actually,
so
in the front part of the truck, right?
But if he's their father, or they were with their mother,
we have, okay.
But it's
we don't know. We're just speculating. We don't know.
Yeah, and that's what we do at points like this.
Yeah.
I mean, it hasn't even been 24 hours yet. The truck was involved in an accident too, so that had to be. I mean, they're not back there with seatbelts on.
It put delays. There were delays for hours and hours there. Look, I'll read you. This is just from the probable cause statement. So, when the trooper was conducting the inspection, he saw two sets of eyes in the refrigerated trailer. He went back to speak with Scott and asked who was in the trailer. Scott looked surprised, but then told the trooper there were kids in the trailer after speaking to his passenger.
Right.
So there's at least another person there, right?
Yes.
So we just don't know, right? We don't know yet. We know that we have several people making calls, at least one reporter making calls on this story. We'll have more details, but
yeah. So this is the affidavit of probable cause, and as we talked about with a lot of cases we've had in the last little while, when a police officer takes an individual to jail, and by the way, he wasn't taken to jail originally because he thought he had broken his hand, so he was taken to the hospital. They checked him out, and then from the hospital he was transported to the Utah County Jail, and he was booked into jail on suspicion of aggravated child abuse, recklessly causing injury to a child. And it says one count, but you would expect there to be two counts because there were two children. And if they're 14 and 12, then they are children.
Well, and I'm sure at some point they'll interview the girls.
Right, and they may have been already because DCFS was on the scene, and that would make perfect sense. So when police officers come on something like this, especially when there's a child, they will usually call the Department of Child and Family Services or Child Protective Services and say, hey, we need somebody to come here. And they may have done an interview of the two girls. I'm certain that's occurred. My guess is, Holly, we'll have more information about this case before the show ends today. You know, I'll be checking up on it regularly because this affidavit of probable cause is something that was entered literally last night at
late last night.
Yeah, at 11:30.
Yeah,
so
late last night.
It'll probably be updated after the courts open it.
I wonder if Heather Kelly from the Traffic Center, if she could join us to talk about those delays yesterday.
Yeah, it was a mess. So the freeway itself was shut down for about 4 hours from just around 11:30 to just before 3:30 in the afternoon. And not only does it cause issues on the freeway because people are backing up from where they're forced to exit the freeway in the Lehigh area or in the Linden area, it also causes issues for anybody trying to get onto the freeway. So, it just causes big headaches on city streets, on the freeways themselves. And even after the freeway opened at about 3:30 yesterday afternoon, the delays lasted until 7 p.m. at night.
Wow.
Heather, do we know, and I know we don't have a lot of time, whether this particular truck caused the accident or it was simply involved in it?
That I don't know. We haven't heard that at this point. I have video of it right when it happened when they hadn't shut the freeway down yet, but it's really hard to tell who did what to who.
Does the video show this particular vehicle? It was a truck with a refrigerator trailer?
It does show a truck and a trailer, but there were probably 6 or 7 vehicles involved in that. And so they're scattered across all the lanes of the freeway. And I only show one left lane of the freeway open at the time I took the video.
Wow.
Thank you so much for joining us. Look, when we come back, we're going to talk about how our nerves have been frayed in Utah. I think it's fair to say we're all on edge. So when somebody says they're going to take out woke at UVU, law enforcement takes it seriously. We'll be right back.
Emergency traffic brought to you by Mountain America. We still have 4 miles of stop-and-go traffic northbound I-15 between 700 South and Clearfield up to Riverdale, where a rollover crash has been cleared. All lanes just opened, but it's going to take time for those delays to clear out. You also have extreme delays northbound I-15 from Sandy all the way into downtown Salt Lake City from multiple crashes that have kept traffic at a crawl through that stretch all morning long. Wasatch Front businesses and property managers, GoPave Utah provides all asphalt repairs for your parking. For patching and paving along the Wasatch Front, contact GoPave Utah. GoPaveUtah.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Do you want to walk, play pickleball, and enjoy other fun activities to stay healthy, but can't because you're in pain? Hi, this is Mike, and the Good Feet store wants to help you get out of pain.
I just had difficulty walking when I had the pain. I tried them on in the store, and my foot felt so much better.
Are you buying new shoes and inserts with little or no relief?
I tried all kinds of shoes. It was the arch supports that made the difference from the Good Feet store.
Don't let foot, knee, or back pain get in the way of you staying healthy and having fun.
Thanks to the Good Feet store, I'm bowling 3 nights a week, pain-free.
Get back to doing what you love. At the Good Feet store, we'll personally fit you with high-quality arch supports to maximize your comfort. Stop in the Good Feet store or book your free fitting at goodfeet.com. Walk-ins are always welcome. Make this the year you get active and healthy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Everybody knows that exterior remodeling salespeople are all about the high-pressure sell. Am I right? Windows, siding, gutters, those suckers are going to twist your arm and get you to buy, or they won't leave your house at night. Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors, and I want you to know we don't have high-pressure sells. In fact, we don't even have salespeople. Nope, we have estimators. That's a huge difference. Estimators are trained to look at the entire scope of the project, to see and know if there are any problems, like rotten wood, wood-borne insects, or construction issues specific to your house or your neighbors. Salespeople are more concerned about playing those silly price games. Buy one, get one free, sign today and get 40% off, as if they didn't just jack the price up to give you a fake discount. RGS Exteriors estimators are going to give you a great quote. No games, no tricks, no nonsense. Call RGS Exteriors to quote your exterior project. Our number is 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsutah.com. That's rgsutah.com.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. We've been having a conversation in our family over and over lately, and it's about the rising cost of groceries. It is breathtaking in some cases. That's why NPS should be the place that you shop. They offer daily specials. They are very competitively priced, and sometimes you will find offers that are just almost unbelievable. Do your grocery shopping at NPS, and you'll see the difference for yourself. Remember, there are 4 locations, one in Orem, one in Layton, and the 2 stores in Salt Lake, the traditional NPS store and the more industrial store right across the street. Remember, you'll save $20 to 70% off each and every day at NPS, and the specials they offer, you'll save even more. It truly is a nice place to shop. NPS, where shopping is really an adventure.
I'm Jordan Wilcox, your Utah tax attorney. When life gets overwhelming, some things tend to fall by the side.
I'm Carlos Sanchez from Draper, Utah. I was managing a business, helping out a business, doing paperwork and getting paid, and my wife got sick. We filed taxes, but then we got audited. And when I went and talked to the IRS, they didn't give me any choice. The IRS pretty much said, this is what you owe us, when are you gonna pay us? And we're talking quite a bit. But every time I drive, I listen to the radio. Jordan Wilcox, Jordan Wilcox. So I figure there's a reason these guys on the radio. So I called them.
Put an end to IRS collection and aggression today.
The amount that the IRS came up with, close to $250,000, and the offer and compromise was about $7,600. That's it.
This is Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. Let's solve your IRS nightmare. Visit endtaxworry.com.
Go for it. The outcome, it was worth it. I'm okay.
endtaxworry.com.
Utah Rail Safety Week is Monday, September 15th to Sunday, September 21st. Whether you drive, bike, or walk, safety starts with each of us. Learn more at utahoperationlifesaver.org.
And expanded Inside Sources.
We're waiting to see if a Pennsylvania man will face formal criminal charges after police accused him of making a social media video threatening Utah Valley University. This falls obviously in line, or it follows up on what happened at UVU last week, and the school being back in session with faculty and staff on Monday, and the students went back yesterday. But in a video, Blake Rogers said he was in Park City to fulfill, quote, his lifelong duty of killing woke. Summit County Sheriff's Sergeant Skylar Talbot tells KSL TV the video got the attention of the FBI.
There's no immediate indication that other individuals were involved or that the suspect took any significant steps toward carrying out these threats.
Yeah, but you don't really need to go too far.
I mean, look,
once you
come
make
on.
the threat.
What were you thinking?
Right.
What were you thinking?
So I'm looking at, again, just like we did in the last segment, an affidavit of probable cause filed by law enforcement. And in this case, they are accusing him right now, and he hasn't been charged, presumed innocent, of what we call threat of terrorism. And the threat, there are some crimes, Holly, that can be committed. We talked about words yesterday.
Yeah.
You talked about words yesterday. Words can commit, can create criminal conduct. And in this case, they thought it was a credible threat, at least enough that they would take him into custody. Now, he's claiming it was a joke, but he was booked into the Summit County Jail, that's up in Park City, and on probable cause of what we call threat. It's a misdemeanor. But
which doesn't seem like a very anyway. It doesn't seem like that serious of a charge for something that could be that serious.
Right. This crime was really enacted for the people that were calling schools and saying there's a bomb in the school, and then they evacuate the school, and you get the 911, and it's a joke. And
well,
happens.
it's okay. It's not a joke, and especially people right now. Come on, but we have KSL News Radio, Adam Small in studio with you. I'm in studio too.
With us.
Traffic today, though, doubled my commute. I'll just have to say that. It took me an hour and a half to get in today. Okay, so what do we know about this threat, Adam?
Yeah, so according to this affidavit of probable cause, Blake Rogers allegedly posts this video. I can just read it. He says, "Hello, my name is Blake Rogers. I live at this street in Pennsylvania. I'm currently in Park City, Utah. I'm now beginning my odyssey to Utah Valley University to fulfill my lifelong duty of, quote, again, finally killing woke." Goes on to say that, if I don't make it back from this trip, I'm kind of paraphrasing here, you'll know that, and quote this part, that I was defeated by my mortal enemy, the woke mind virus at Utah Valley University, where Charlie Kirk was assassinated. So gets the attention of the FBI for obvious reasons. They go to where he's staying in Park City. They're, again, all based on this affidavit. Again, he's innocent till proven guilty. They go talk to him, like, hey, do you know why we're here? And say he brings up the video. I'm like, hey, I just want to make it clear, woke, I'm talking in like general terms, like it's a group of people with certain beliefs. And then he says, the part about me not coming back was a joke, but I get why you guys took it seriously. But
you gotta be kidding me.
But then obviously the police are like, okay, you've, according to them, admitted to making this video. You knew why we were coming. and we believe this was a credible threat, and they booked him into jail. But again, we've actually checked court records today. He has not been formally charged yet, and he was also just arrested, which makes sense sometimes. I mean, we here in Utah, you have up to 3 business days, right, Greg, to file charges.
Right, exactly.
So we were looking up to see, does he have a court date or anything? And that's not going to happen until or unless he is formally charged. And if he is with the suggested charge from law enforcement, it would only be a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
That's kind of the point you were bringing up.
Yeah. Look, I think threatening to kill people is got to be more than a misdemeanor, man. I don't know.
And by the way, it could be. So the threat, it depends on the nature of the threat.
Yeah,
Just like
I guess,
the child abuse case that we had before.
Yeah.
And Adam is exactly right. So he was booked on probable cause for misdemeanor threat of terrorism, just as the last person who had the kids in the refrigerator truck is booked on probable cause of reckless causing child abuse. A prosecutor might look at both of those and say, you know what? With respect to the truck driver, it was intentional. You knew what you were doing.
Yeah.
We're going to charge you with a more serious crime. And in this case, they can say this threat was more than just to get people's attention.
Right.
You caused more than just a little nervousness.
That actually, I have to correct myself because we've talked on here about credible death threats and non-credible death threats. I've talked about that because I got death threats when I was a legislator, and they were run-of-the-mill death threats, right? And so, nobody ever faced any consequences as far as I'm aware. Are you feeling, Adam, are you seeing, is there, I think there's, everybody's nerves are on edge. I know that that's true. Are you seeing a rise in maybe additional surveillance on potential threats like this, or even the jokey kind of threats? I am seeing it from national figures like Steve Bannon, right, is saying really bad stuff about Utah right now.
I think what happened to Charlie Kirk has definitely set off a lot of alarm bells for sure at the national and local level. I mean, when I covered when Kash Patel was in Washington in that oversight hearing with the Senate, what was it, a couple days ago? I mean, they talk about, for example, in the Tyler Robinson case, the Charlie Kirk case, they're going to look into well over 20 people on a Discord chat who were allegedly talking with Tyler Robinson before the shooting happened. So you kind of see that happen. And then obviously, we've talked so much about political violence in general, too, where these threats, we've seen them lead to tragedies like Charlie Kirk's, the lawmakers in Minnesota.
Yep.
So I think we're definitely seeing at the national level. I think the Charlie Kirk case set off some alarm bells. And then here, too, I mean, the fact that this alleged threat comes through, just, a week after, I guess this was on a couple days ago, he was actually interviewed, arrested. But, not even a week after the Charlie Kirk assassination, that's,
particularly insensitive for a joke, right?
Yeah, and then we talked about this morning, too, the threat that was deemed not credible online about a threat made towards a Provo school.
Yeah.
And they were like, look, Utah County especially has been under a lot of just really
pressure.
Tense down there, a lot of pressure. So police were like, hey, we don't think it's credible, but we're going to show up to school anyway. We want people to feel safe. When I was at UVU yesterday, there were law enforcement from agencies all over the state there. I think it was partly due to ongoing investigation, but I think it was also to help those students just feel safe going back to class. I definitely think it is fair to say this has set off a lot of alarms for federal and local officials.
It's interesting, Adam, because he did say, I'm beginning my odyssey to Utah Valley University to fulfill my lifelong duty of killing woke.
He's only 20, by the way.
Right. You have an interesting perspective because you've spent a lot of time. Yesterday, I think you were there Monday when the faculty and staff back at Utah Valley University, and you can tell our listeners what the mood was like on campus. It probably wasn't the same as it would have been a month ago.
No, not at all. I kind of compared it when I recorded one of my stories yesterday. When I was in the central part of the campus courtyard, because like I said, the courtyard, Charlie Kirk was down on the grassy area. There's these different levels. It's a nice little architecture design. They have that lower level all guarded off still, but people basically were using the courtyard. There was one memorial on one part of the courtyard, and the rest of people were just looking on down at the spot where he was speaking, and it felt like if you've visited a cemetery, there is no sound. Anyone who's there is there in silence, or they're crying or dealing with emotions as they are visiting the grave of a loved one. That's what it felt like. They were looking at the spot Charlie Kirk was speaking at like there was a headstone there. And if you heard anything walking around that university yesterday, it was tears or sniffles, if there was any sound at all. It is not anywhere near the same, and I think that's why we're seeing police take any kind of threat so seriously, because right now we're not only on edge, but there are a lot of kids that are broken, and that sense of security is feeling shattered, and they're trying to get it back.
And I think you're exactly right. Police have to look at something like this very seriously to send a message that this is not a joke, this is not funny, and they're going to charge somebody like this. Thanks, Adam. Thanks for being with us 4 days in a row, if you include last week. Speaking of school safety, Representative Ryan Wilcox has sponsored multiple bills around school safety for several years, including earlier this year. In the normal legislative process, the bill was changed and removed a section on college campus safety. We'll talk to him about why that occurred next.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story, extra police officers will be at Provo schools this morning because of a social media threat aimed at a local high school. Police say the threat is not credible, but they want people to feel safe.
It was last night images were posted on social media suggesting a shooting spree that would target schools in Utah County. Provo police say they don't find the threats credible, but want to be extra cautious, so they're investigating and will send extra officers to schools through the district. Tempview High School was specifically mentioned, and school leaders decided to postpone their homecoming assembly.
Schools will remain open today, but emphasize parents can keep their students home. Just call and let the school know if they will be absent. Security at Utah's colleges and universities has become a top-of-mind issue for many state leaders following the murder of Charlie Kirk. Earlier this year, the Utah legislature was close to passing a proposal meant to bolster security on Utah college campuses, but it failed at one of its final hurdles.
The most important thing now is the next play. It always is. What happened has happened. What can we learn from it?
State Representative Wilcox tells KSL TV an outside agency is now helping UVU investigate the shooting. He says they will listen to their recommendations as they draft a new school safety bill for next year's legislative session. Our top national story this hour, President Trump is meeting with UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer on this second day in the country. They held a press conference last hour. Your money at this moment, right now the Dow is up 153 points. We're at 46,171. Coming up sunny today, a few more clouds tomorrow. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:32. A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Amanda, I want to tell people how they can look and feel 10 years younger because it's something you and I already know.
We lost weight with the SOTA weight loss program. I lost 34 pounds, 3 years ago now?
Yeah.
And I do feel younger. I have more energy, all because I worked through this wonderful program, SOTA Weight Loss.
And I let go of 70 pounds of fat weight over 5 months, and I actually did get comments, you look incredibly younger. It really felt good.
And I love the example I set for my kids to show them, look, we can celebrate things without having to eat stuff that's bad for our bodies.
And what helps is the accountability. And right now, this is the best way to do it. SOTA's bringing back their most popular offer of the season. Join now, and your partner joins for free in the Partner Program.
So you and your spouse, or you and your best friend, get going with SOTA Weight Loss.
They're the #1 weight loss company in America for client satisfaction and client results. You can find out by going to their website, SOTAweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Because SOTA is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art.
Hi, it's me, Flo, here to tell you that with a Progressive Home and Auto Bundle, you get 24/7 protection, so you're covered no matter where the day takes you.
Even bad hair day?
Yep.
And tree branch fell on my car day?
Especially that day. Progressive has you covered 24/7 for your home and auto.
How about thought it was chicken, but it was tuna day? Or overnight construction outside my bedroom day?
Those days too.
Great, because that was each day this week.
Been there. Well, at least your home and auto are covered every day with Progressive.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
Donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. And here is Heather Kelly.
Well, the good news is we no longer have emergency traffic. The bad news is there's still plenty of slowdowns around for drivers on northbound I-15 from 104th South and Sandy up to the South Interchange. There's still an accident in play on the left shoulder just before you get to the 90th South exit. And then if you're southbound I-15 out of Ogden-Davis County, that is a really smooth commute now. Until you get into North Salt Lake, you'll pick up a few brake lights there. We still have a lot of delay on US 89 in Davis County, heading northbound from 3000 North in Layton up past the I-84 interchange. A lot of people used that as an alternate when northbound I-15 in the Roy area had lane closures. Need a spark? Campson Electric lights up homes and businesses with expert service and serious style. From upgrades to installs, we do it all. Visit campsonelectric.com and bring your vision to light. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today will be sunny with highs in the low 80s. Tomorrow, a few clouds moving in. Chance of showers on the weekend. Right now, it's sunny and 66 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Anytime we have, Holly, an event like occurred at Utah Valley University last week, you've got to look at what we're doing with respect to that particular type of activity. And so college campuses have been addressed. We have our legislature has actually been on top of this for some time. But I think they're going to have to revisit it now and say, okay, what are we going to do in the future? And I'm not saying it's knee-jerk reaction. I'm saying it's an appropriate response to something that's happened and what we're going to do to prevent it from happening in the future.
Well, last year, so Representative Ryan Wilcox has done a number of pieces of legislation on school safety. And earlier this year in 2025, he had a piece and it passed almost unanimously out of the House. It went over to the Senate, and the normal process of legislation, right? Some pieces were changed, and one of the pieces that was taken out was a security assessment for universities and colleges in Utah. And that's, again, a normal part of the process. And I think now we can look back, and you can't second guess, I know that, but to look back and say, okay, do we need to revisit? We have Representative Ryan Wilcox on the line. He is a friend of mine. I've known him for many years. He's a remarkably talented singer, by the way. And thanks for joining us, Representative.
That was supposed to be private.
If you ever want him to sing for you, you might have to ask him. Look, what can you tell us about? Look, I guess the thing that stuck out to me, I saw an article by Daniel Woodruff, he's KSL TV reporter, that you hadn't slept really, and I can feel that. It really has impacted people. What is it that's keeping you awake at night about this?
About all of these cases, Holly, since we've embarked on this project in the wake of the Uvalde disaster and the failures of law enforcement experience there, it's felt very much like an urgent need, one that when we started our own initial assessments, our first meeting at DPS a few weeks after that happened, where we had all the experts in the state gathered around the table, and the conclusion was how safe our kids are largely depends on the school that they happen to be in, and whether or not that particular superintendent, that particular principal had taken it seriously, had prepared, had coordinated with their local law enforcement, and whether or not local law enforcement had prepared and trained and and first responders were prepared for such an event, let alone on the prevention side. What did all those factors look like? And the conclusion was that we weren't at all. There were very few places in the state where we were prepared in such a moment. And so as we study these cases from across the country, both in higher end K-12 education, these tragedies have dictated, the response has dictated our approaches, what worked in those states and what didn't. And with the entire goal of being ahead of them here, so that no kid has to go to school and worry about anything other than learning. No teacher has to go to school wondering if they're going to come home. Law enforcement, on the other hand, is used to it. That's what they sign up for. That's what they know when they go out of the door in the morning. And that's something that protectors choose in that space. But when it comes to our kids, we all, the parents, the teachers, the administrators in Utah, we are ultimately responsible for the most vulnerable. And that's where we had to get better with training, with school design, with preparation mentally to understand and empower people who are charged with those safety of those children. I can't tell you how many hundreds at this point of people in Utah who work in our schools that had approached me that said, I worked there for 20 years. I carried every day because I didn't want that to happen after what I saw happen in Columbine. But nobody ever trained me. I didn't know what to do if that came here. To that point, question, Greg. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Ryan, but do you think that we are closer? And I know that there's some legislation in this respect already to having armed teachers or having in-school officers in every school.
We are much closer, and I think KSL covered a story early when the school started about Washington County,
right,
and how successful they've been in identifying the right people and getting them trained. And we've seen this play out. The Appalachia disaster. I've been to Georgia twice in the last year. It happened last September, and as we've studied that one and met with the superintendent and those who were involved and responsible for it, they've said the same thing. So, but in that case, and I want everybody to understand, three of the most controversial things that we've done, armed response, the Alyssa's Law alert system, and the locks, because they're expensive, like the door locks that lock the doors from the inside in the event of an emergency, all three of those were instant major factors in ending that one.
Yeah.
The attacker, the murderer, couldn't get back into the classroom because of the door lock. The teacher immediately used the alert system, the same things that we've required here, and got an armed response there within 34 seconds.
Wow.
Instead of the 3 minutes and 51 that it took the Parkland murderer to kill 17 and wound another 17.
Right.
We lost 4, but the classroom that was compromised was the one next door with the disabled children in it.
Yeah.
Because it was propped open. And that's back to the training.
Ryan.
So
What can we look at for looking at university assessment now?
Yes. Yeah, the plan that we've always known that there was a vulnerability there. I'm in Florida right now. One of my friends here who lost her child in Parkland also had her son at Florida State when the shooting happened there earlier this year. And I've known that this was an urgent need, but I also have known that they have their own police departments and that our K-12 schools were much more vulnerable. So we started there. And the plan is always to address our concerns in higher education. And it starts with getting the assessments done. When we get the assessments done, then we know where our holes are. We know where the vulnerabilities are, and we can begin to address them and draw up a plan. And that's why that was in this year's bill, so that we could get those going. Now, to be complimentary of the system of higher education, Commissioner Landward and others, they have been working actively with our state security chief to implement those without the legislation. And I love that. I love that they saw the need and and have been working on that and appreciative of that. Those efforts have accelerated, as you can imagine, in the last week, as we are all hyper aware now of some of the vulnerabilities that we may face.
And the timing of this is
so. Yes, there will be more legislation. Right. Short version, as we learn from this investigation.
Look, thank you for joining us, and I have to tell you, Katie says go to choir practice. She texted us. She texted us on our text line. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Ryan.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, thank you.
Look, I think there's no question that it feels like there's some really deep political divides in our country right now, but there's also people who are experienced in working across the aisle. One of those is former Governor Gary Herbert, and he will be joining us next when we come back after the break. We're streaming live on KSLNewsRadio.com, and we're on the app for KSL News Radio, sponsored by At Your Service Pros.
Hey, this is Dan, the laptop man from PC Laptops. Imagine struggling with a slow, outdated computer that takes forever to load anything, that randomly freezes up and is filled with viruses and malware.
Now picture yourself with a powerful desktop or laptop that runs smoothly and efficiently, making your work and entertainment seamless. Take one home today. The new 2025 S1 desktop or SM3 laptop for only $999. You heard that right, $999. You get a blazing fast processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing storage for $999. What else do you get? Lifetime service warranty, and we have 12 months special financing on approved credit. Hurry in right now because supplies are limited, because at PC Laptops, we love you. Just check us out at PCLaptops.com. $999, PCLaptops.com.
KSL offers the best daily newsletter in the state. It's the 3 things you need to know. Every weekday, we deliver quality and relevant content to your inbox. No ads, no spam, just the 3 things you need to know to be informed about the world around you. Subscribe today. Visit KSLNewsRadio.com or text the word INBOX to 57500. That's INBOX to 57500.
September means it's time for Any Hour Services free furnace sale. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and as summer comes to a close and falls right around the corner, the weather gets, well, perfect. And when the weather's perfect, people need a little extra incentive to replace their heating and cooling system. That's where Any Hour Services free furnace sale comes in. For the month of September, when you have Any Hour Services install a new air conditioner, we'll give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it. About $400. The furnace is free, you just pay the labor. And there's no catch. There's no raising the price on the air conditioner first. There's no making you buy the most expensive air conditioner to qualify. There's none of that. There's just a desire to keep our technicians working while the weather's mild and a genuine appreciation of you for helping us keep them busy. So if you've been thinking about replacing your old furnace and air conditioner and want to know exactly how much you can save during our free furnace sale, call Any Hour Services today and schedule a free estimate. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
I'm Christian Staples with Arctic Spas. One of our values is to do only what is good for our customers in the long term. Our goal is to have you as a happy Arctic Spa customer even 10 years down the road and longer. This means that we only sell and service Arctic Spas. We are built for the long term because we cut your electric bill in half compared to other brands. We do multi-level seating, armrests, adjustable pillows, and 100% massaging jets to make it more comfortable, so you will continue to enjoy it over the long term. The Arctic Spa has automatic saltwater care and automatic pH control. Less worry means you will enjoy it more over the long term. Focusing on Arctic Spa customers gives you a better experience with our knowledge, training, parts, and accessories that you need for the long term. You will enjoy your Arctic Spa longer, making us the least expensive option over the long run. When you're looking for a long-term hot tub with service for the long term, check us out at ArcticSpasUtah.com, covering all of Utah with stores in Salt Lake, American Fork, and St. George. Arctic Spa, the only spa built for Utah's harsh climate, and the best long-term choice for you.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our clients' portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
what about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Come on, the meeting's already started.
Sometimes it's important.
Last call, boarding gate number 9.
Sometimes it's urgent.
Prep for alarm.
Sometimes it's vital. Hospital treatment within 1 hour of a stroke can prevent lifelong disability. If you notice someone experiencing sudden weakness on one side or having a problem speaking, walking, or seeing, call 911 fast. Stroke. Know the signs. Act in time. A message from the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke.
Matthew.
Huh? Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I just need you to listen to me. I know that a lot of times, Mom, it might not seem like I'm listening to you, but I am. I hear you. And what you say really does matter to me.
I mean, let's be honest. No kid likes rules, but I get why we have them. I hear you, and I know it's because you care.
All the talks we've had over the years, including what you've told me about not using alcohol and other drugs, they stick with me. And believe it or not, they really do make a difference, especially at times that matter most.
Hey, want a drink?
No thanks, I'm good. So thank you, Dad, for talking and preparing me for what's ahead.
Thanks, Mom, for never giving up and always being my biggest fan.
Thank you for letting me know what you expect, so I can try to meet your expectations.
Thank you for talking.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Are you thinking about buying medicine online? A search for online pharmacies yields more than 20 million results. But which ones can you trust? Medicines bought from unlicensed online pharmacies can be dangerous. You may get a fake drug, your condition may get worse, or you may experience a bad reaction. Don't put your health at risk. To learn how to find an online pharmacy that's safe and legal, visit fda.gov/BeSafeRx. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
And expanded Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
You know, it feels like it's just a time in our country, Holly, when there's such divides that our leaders are having a harder time or seem more reluctant to sort of reach across the aisle. Our legislators, both in state and federal, are going back and forth, and it seems like the Republicans want X, the Democrats want Y, and they're not the same. And to me, it's hit closer to home than ever because even our Supreme Court, it seems to be divided. But it's also refreshing to know, even from our own Governor Cox the other day, talking about bridging the gap and bridging the divide.
Yeah, it's something we've been talking about for sure on our show over the last week, plus now a week and a day, about how do you do that. In fact, we can see screens when we are here in the studio. We can see multiple screens. And at some point this morning, even on Fox News, I've seen people talking about how do you talk across the aisle, like how do you ratchet down the heat? How do you have these conversations? And we're lucky to have the ability to talk with legislators, and we're waiting for a guest to call in. But one of the things that we're able to talk about, I think, that is good and interesting is how do you have those conversations, right? If you fundamentally disagree, in fact, I was having a conversation with my husband last night, is if you have somebody who says to you, I can't talk with you because I think you're evil, that is a hard place to start from, right? And so what do you do? And one of the things that I think you do, and one of the things that I've learned, is that you start with can you find a point of shared humanity? Can you find a point of commonality? And I think the answer is yes, you can find a point of commonality, right? One of the things I learned as a legislator is that, in fact, one of the things that surprised me a little bit while we were there is that there's such a sense of working together, right? You may have different ways to get there, but basically the goal of wanting to help people in Utah, that was the same, right? Wanting to help the people in your district, wanting to make sure that people felt like they were represented, that was the same. It didn't matter what party you belonged to.
And every once in a while, our leaders, our political leaders, and I've been struggling to remember the name, but there was not the last gubernatorial election, but the one before that, the Democratic candidate and the Republican candidate, who was Spencer Cox at the time, actually did a promo together.
Oh, yeah.
And it was beautiful. And they talked,
I think this was just the last election cycle, 2024.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, it was the one before.
The one before that?
Yeah, and he was a professor at the University of Utah, and he was running for governor. I was running for AG at the time. We were not getting along. But in the governor's race, they were. In the last gubernatorial election, I think the Democrat and Phil Lyman got together a little bit, but neither of them were really pro-Governor Cox. Maybe I'm remembering wrong, but I just remember how...
You're right. It was the one before.
Yeah, how compelling that was to see those two men who were debating and arguing different issues do something together and say, okay, we're both on the same path, which is what's best for Utah. We may have a different way of getting there.
Yeah, right. And I again, that's part of the conversation. It's one of the conversations that we need to continue to have right now is how do you ask those questions? How do you start it? Like, I'll tell you something. The story. So there was an issue that I cared about. I had a blog. It was called Holly on the Hill. I use that blog sometimes to let my opinions be known. And one time we were talking about an issue. It happened to be hair braiding, and I was not very kind. And I did things I shouldn't have done, which was put my opinion out there before I called and talked to the legislator that it impacted. So I got a very angry phone call, and I got lectured for 45 minutes, which was okay. And then he said to me, "What would you like to see happen?" And
Wow.
I said, "I appreciate your willingness to listen to me, and I apologized for not reaching out first. It's a little scary, right?" And then we had a good conversation. But you know what? He was frustrated, and he was right to be frustrated. But we were able to still come together afterwards and have a conversation, and we ended up with a good resolution. But I was wrong to shame him publicly without having even kind of a conversation, right? I should have sat down and said, where can we come together, right? Because he had been trying, and I had made some assumptions that were incorrect.
Yeah, it was Chris Peterson, who was the university professor that ran against Spencer Cox in 2020, and I just wanted to clear that up because I remember them doing that ad. I was running at the same time in a little more contentious election myself, and they took the high road. We didn't, admittedly. I mean, we didn't.
Do you know that I don't remember that AG race, to be honest?
Good. I'm still, I don't know, concerned about how that all went down. And
we learned,
I would
right?
say Sean and I today would embrace each other. I mean, he's a great man, and I really like him. And it just, I don't know, it got contentious, and when we practice law and we're on different sides, you argue and fight, and then you have lunch.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not like that. And politics is a little tougher.
It can be like that, and it used to be like that. And you remember, we're old enough that the cartoon, and I can't remember the name of the cartoon, but it was like, oh gosh, it had a wolf and a sheep, right? And they would clock in.
Oh yeah.
And then they would fight like all day. The wolf would try to get the sheep, and the sheep
right.
would try to protect each other, right, or whatever. And then at the end of the day, they would clock out, and then they'd go to the local pub.
It was the wolf and the sheep guarding dog.
Right. Oh yeah, that's right. The dog.
They were
That's right. That's right.
And they would right.
Right. I mean, they were demonstrating how you can be at odds in a work environment, but that doesn't mean your relationship is at odds.
Yeah.
Right. That's super interesting.
We're at a terrible point in our country. I mean, there are some people doing things about it, and there's some signs.
Well, there's lots of people.
There are a lot of people doing things about it, and I think, wouldn't it be incredible if more leaders got together, a couple of senators, a dozen of them, five or six from each side, saying, "Hey, we're going to work on this," or legislators, or
Or here's our commitment. Do you remember do you remember Contract for America, right? There's all these things we're going to do, and that was what Newt Gingrich way back in the day. But what if we saw some national legislators come together and say, we're going to have a contract with America, and our commitment to you is that we are not going to do the contempt. We may disagree on policy, but we agree that we are going to ratchet down the political heat, right? I think that would be so powerful. We actually are a little bit later in the show. It's only about an hour from now. We're going to talk with Utah Speaker Mike Schultz. He is going to join us, and one of the things we're going to ask him about is this civil dialogue, the ability to talk about things you disagree with in a way that is civil.
Yeah, and he has been civil. When we come back after the break, Jimmy Kimmel is no longer on the air after the comedian's comments about the suspect in the Charlie Kirk shooting. We're going to talk about that when we come back.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story this hour. We are gathering more details about the arrest of a truck driver involved in the Linden crash on I-15 yesterday that shut down the freeway for hours. Court documents say a highway patrol trooper opened a refrigerated truck trailer and 2 young girls were inside without any way to get out. The temperature in the truck was around 30 degrees. Jacob Ortel Scott was booked into the Utah County Jail on suspicion of aggravated child abuse. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. President Trump wrapped up a news conference last hour in England with the British Prime Minister, where they discussed a wide range of topics. But he also took a moment to talk about Charlie Kirk, who was a close friend to the president.
Just last week, a great American, Charlie Kirk, was heinously assassinated for speaking his mind. He was a great young man, credible future. Some people said he might be president someday. I told him, I said, Charlie, I think you have a good shot someday at being president.
The president says Kirk dedicated his life to helping others. The president also confirmed he will attend the memorial for Kirk on Sunday in Arizona. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 88 points at this hour. That's 0.2%. We're at 46,107. Coming up, highs today will be in the 80s. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:01.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. I want to tell you about our famous "You Don't Need a Warranty" warranty. That's right. It's a warranty you don't need, but we give it to you anyway. Let me explain. Most warranty problems for siding, gutters, and windows are caused by not installing stuff right in the first place. If you rush the work, cut corners, or use subpar materials, you're just begging for problems later. At RGS Exteriors, we don't tolerate careless workmanship. We slow down, focus on every detail, and use only the best materials. We prevent warranty work by doing the job right in the first place. That's why the 10-year everything guarantee we give you is also known as our "You Don't Need a Warranty" warranty. We absolutely will be there if you need to use it. But honestly, you probably will never have to. Done right the first time. That's the RGS way. For siding, gutters, and windows, call 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsexteriors.com.
For over 22 years, speaking on business on KSL News Radio has been a beloved tradition, celebrating our heroic business leaders and Utah consumers who have helped build one of the strongest state economies in the nation. Now, under the stewardship of the Salt Lake Chamber and hosted by Chamber President and CEO Derek Miller, the program continues to shine a spotlight on those who make Utah's business environment dynamic and thriving. With his expertise and passion, Derek brings the stories of our business community to life. As part of the Salt Lake Chamber, Speaking on Business is proud to continue its legacy of highlighting inspiring stories, trends, and special guests. Support Utah businesses now and be part of Utah's thriving economy. More information can be found at slchamber.com. That's slchamber.com.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time. The next time you're out to dinner with friends, you can order the shrimp cocktail for the table. And maybe you'll realize it only comes with 4 shrimp after you've already given away 3, but that one shrimp will be so good. And if you switch and save hundreds, you could get shrimp all the time. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For shrimp. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-275-1728. That's 800-275-1728.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. And here's Heather Kelly.
We've got a crash northbound Bangerter Highway right at 104th South exit in South Jordan. It is in the construction zone, but the cars have tucked behind the construction barrels. So you do have the right lane blocked in that area, but the crash itself is not adding to any delays. We still have a little bit of slowing on northbound I-15 coming up from Sandy into Midvale due to an earlier crash that just cleared, so those delays will clear out very quickly. And we still have a bit of slowing on US 89 northbound. That's struggling to return to normal speeds, as a lot of people took US 89 as their alternate earlier this morning heading up to the I-84 interchange. While you're planning your day, plan for comfort, too, with the Good Feet store. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Mostly sunny with a high today of 83, the same tomorrow, but with more clouds moving in, then a 30% chance of rain on Saturday. Right now it's 66 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
On the heels of this last weekend's Emmys, where Stephen Colbert actually won an Emmy, and he got a standing ovation. Of course, you recall he was terminated from his job as a late-night talk show host.
In the summer, right?
And it caused tremendous controversy. The people rallied around him, got supportive of him. He won an Emmy. Well, Disney has now decided to remove Jimmy Kimmel, the Jimmy Kimmel Live show, from ABC Network indefinitely after his comments about the suspect in the Charlie Kirk shooting. This morning, there's mixed reaction about that. Here's America in the Morning's Kevin Carr with more.
The battle between late-night talk show hosts and the Trump administration has escalated. On Monday night's Jimmy Kimmel Live monologue, Kimmel commented on the suspect in the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them.
Later on Wednesday, FCC Chairman Brendan Carr was a guest on Benny Johnson's podcast and said Kimmel's comments amounted to news distortion. He suggested the FCC may have grounds to intervene.
I mean, look, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. These companies can find ways to change conduct, to take action, frankly, on Kimmel, or, there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead.
Later in the interview, Carr suggested that parent company Disney should make some changes, not ruling out firing Kimmel. However, he also called for local affiliates to push back on the broadcaster.
The individual licensed stations that are taking their content, it's time for them to step up and say, this, garbage, to the extent that that's what comes down the pipe in the future, isn't something that we think serves the needs of our local communities.
And that's exactly what happened. Nexstar, a major operator of ABC-affiliated stations, announced late on Wednesday that it would no longer broadcast Jimmy Kimmel Live for, quote, the foreseeable future. Consequently, shortly after this, ABC announced that Jimmy Kimmel Live will be preempted indefinitely. I'm Kevin Carr.
And that seemed to have happened immediately. I mean, that show didn't have a wind-down period like Colbert did. I mean, he's gone.
Yeah, indefinitely, right? Indefinite suspension. President Trump reacted to the news on social media. He congratulated the ABC network for their actions. It's just, look, you got to ask, why is this happening? Why is the FCC chair saying things like, you can do this the easy way or you can do this the hard way?
Yeah, they're playing to the administration and trying to keep everybody in check. I do want to just play. That was a little blip of what Kimmel said, and I'll tell you, listening to it was trouble. I didn't think it was funny. Trying to characterize this kid as anything other than, I don't know. I mean,
MAGA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to just play a little bit more of what he said. The whole exchange is about 5 minutes, but you can find it online. But here's a little bit more.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger-pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. Demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish, okay?
So that was cringy to me, but that was a live interview. I mean, what he played was a live clip of a reporter asking him just like a day after Charlie Kirk's murder. So anyway, gosh, what's the line? Where's the line, people?
Yeah, and what we talk about First Amendment, and people keep saying, well, he had a First Amendment right to say that. And I will agree.
Who,
and the
he?
law,
Kimmel?
Yeah, Kimmel.
Yeah.
And the law will agree. And the courts will agree. But his employer can, and we learned this yesterday from David Ryman when we talked about the First Amendment and who it applies to.
Right.
The government, the First Amendment applies to the government not restricting speech. So the government can't limit what you say, or let's say you want to go give a speech at a public park or something.
Right.
They can't shut you down.
Right.
But your employer can say, and we talked about this a lot yesterday, this is a perfect example of that, where if you're posting things on your social media and your employer goes, hey, wait a minute, we don't want that associated with our business. Post whatever you want. Exercise your First Amendment rights. You're fired. And there's nothing illegal about that. That's consistent with the prosecution. Governor Cox also got a mention by Jimmy Kimmel, who was also bringing up posts from Marjorie Taylor Greene posted on X.
Governor Spencer Cox has been a rare voice of sanity after what happened in his state. He urged Americans to choose humanity, connection, and love, and even encouraged us to listen to people we disagree with, which is not the plan, according to Marjorie Taylor Greene. Klan Mom wrote today, there's nothing left to talk about with the left. They hate us. They assassinated our nice guy who actually talked to them, peacefully debating ideas. Then millions on the left celebrated and made clear they want all of us dead. To be honest, I want a peaceful national divorce. Same thing her husband said about 2.5 years ago.
She actually did post that too, though, right?
Yeah.
So I don't
Kimmel
think
was in rare form. I've never been a huge fan, but he was. I don't know. I can see why ABC was just going. I'm sure his bosses were going, Jimmy, dial it back.
You also have to know that ABC that they're trying to propose a merger in front of the FCC. Right, and the FCC has to approve it, and you have Brendan Carr, who spoke with CNBC about doing it. I don't know if this clip says that he's doing it the easy way or the hard way, but certainly you would think, looking at the surface, that maybe the proposed merger might have something to do with their decision.
These are comedians we're talking about. This is not the news.
Well, look, I can tell you, Jimmy Kimmel is no Johnny Carson, and the issue that arose here where lots and lots of people were upset was not a joke. It was not, making fun or pillaring me or the administration or the president. It was appearing to directly mislead the American public about a significant fact of probably one of the most significant political events we've had in a long time. Certainly the most significant political assassination we've seen in a long time. If you have a broadcast TV license, that means that you have something that very few people have. And you're excluding other people from having access to that valuable public resource. And it comes with an obligation to serve the public interest. And again, over the years, there's been a rule in place at the FCC that local TV stations get to preempt programming that they don't think meets the needs of their communities. When it comes to the internet. We want, wide open, robust, debate, and there's no public interest standard there. There's no licensing obligation there. But again, broadcast TV is simply different.
Yeah, and of course, when people wonder, well, the FCC is a government agency, and that's true, but the FCC didn't fire Jimmy Kimmel either. I mean, ABC did, and they're not the government.
That's right. That's right. Even if there was some pressure, and we don't know, but what we do know is Jimmy Kimmel is off the air. That's what we know.
And that may be who knows,
indefinite
probably.
Right now.
But just playing those sound bites, I don't know. I cringe.
But they do monologues, right? I mean, that's what comedians do. SNL. I don't watch those, but there are points like you use comedy to make a point. So
it is unfortunate that on the heels of Stephen Colbert criticizing the Trump administration, Jimmy Kimmel does the same thing, and both of them lose their jobs, and their employers are. I don't know. Of course, you got to look at the bottom line, and we're here to make money, and if something our people are saying is hurting us, maybe we need to do something about it.
Well, look, again, it wasn't actually about Trump. It was about Charlie Kirk. But we are going to talk about Constitution. So yesterday was Constitution Day, and we have a really great expert on that who will join us right after the break.
Register for Jazz Youth Camps and Clinics, brought to you by PB Fit. Whether you're a beginner interested in learning basketball basics or an advanced player wanting to hone your skills and techniques, there's a camp for you. Let's go! All kids ages 4 to 17 are welcome. You'll get the chance to learn directly from Utah Jazz Camps and Clinics coaches and jazz personalities at select camps at various locations throughout Utah, even the Jazz practice facility. If you love the Jazz and the game of basketball, this is an opportunity you can't miss out on. Register for your spot now at jazzyouth.com.
An emergency can happen any second. Here's a few seconds to think about where you'd go. When you need medical care fast, the closest emergency room is a smart thing to know. Common Spirit Health ERs are your direct path between feeling scared or uncomfortable and feeling better. Find emergency care in your neighborhood at mountain.commonspirit.org.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Mom, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotion. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. Consequently, they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Dial pound 250 and say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk. Everything you need and nothing you don't.
Comcast Business High Five Hotline. What's the state of your excitement?
I signed my business up for the 5-year price lock guarantee, and I can't stop high-fiving people. High five!
Okay, deep breath.
High five.
You're in a good place. You signed your business up for 5 years of gig speed internet and advanced security, all on our ultra-reliable network.
Gig speeds and advanced security? I'm so stoked.
Yep, and you get it at a great rate that's locked in for 5 years.
Woo!
The high five is just your body's way of saying, I'm winning.
So this is natural.
High-fiving everyone you see in a state of business savings enthusiasm? Totally natural.
Sweet! Thank you! Thank you! High five, everybody! High five!
The Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee is back, but only for a limited time, so sign your business up today.
High five!
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 9/21/25 for new customers with qualifying bundle. Current customers may be eligible depending on services and area. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
That leaf pile is 100 feet tall. Your dad can't handle this. Not without the right equipment.
Yard work piling up? Gear up for fall with John Deere. Get $750 off select mowers, $2,000 off select Gator UVs, and $3,000 off select compact tractors.
Did I hear your dad got a John Deere? Yep, bad day to be a leaf pile.
Gear up for fall at an authorized John Deere dealer, now through September 30th. Learn more at johndeere.com/gearupforfall.
Ready to order?
Yes.
We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu!
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
If you're struggling with your mortgage, there's a free government program that offers expert one-on-one advice about your mortgage options. Call 1-888-995-HOPE or visit makinghomeaffordable.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Treasury, HUD, and the Ad Council.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Every 2 minutes, an American is sexually assaulted. The majority of victims know their attacker. It could be your friend, your neighbor, or someone you met at a party. If you said no, it's rape, and it's a crime. This is Christina Ricci with RAIN. Call the National Sexual Assault Hotline today at 1-800-656-HOPE or visit RAIN.org. That's RAINN.org.
Brought to you by RAIN and this station.
Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
So yesterday was Constitution Day, and we talked about that. It is the longest constitution in existence in the world, I think, at least currently, right? And we're talking with Shima Boffman today. She's the Woodruff J. Dean Professor of Law and a Distinguished Fellow at the BYU Wheatley Institute, a nationally recognized expert on bail, prosecutors, and police. And she wrote a really compelling piece for the Deseret News titled, "The Constitution's Not Partisan, It Protects Us All." Thanks for joining us. Okay, she'll join us on the line, but she's so fascinating because she has this background in law, but also in education, right? And she also is a refugee, so she's really something.
And what a great title! The Constitution is not partisan,
Yeah.
because the framers of the Constitution may have been, but they all got together.
Right.
And the Constitution, what happened
right.
yesterday, it was one of your fun facts of the day. I think it was the day that it was signed because there was the ratified and
Right.
enacted, and there were several different
Yesterday,
aspects of
yesterday was when it was signed.
Right, when they all got together and signed it. And it is the longest standing governmental document in the world, and it's 250 years. And you know, we talk
little
about
bit less.
Yeah, but give or take. But we talk about what it means and what it does and where we are with it, and it's continually evolving and being reestablished and relooked at. Not established, but being redefined, I guess.
Well, again, we have Shima Boffman on the line with us. Thanks for joining us this morning, Shima.
Hi, how are you? So good to be with you.
So good. Look, I would love for you to share just a little bit of your background with our listeners about one of the reasons the Constitution is so important to you.
Absolutely. So when I was little, I was a toddler sitting on my mom's lap. Men with machine guns burst into our house in Iran and arrested her for using her rights of speech and freedom of religion. She wanted the government in Iran to allow women to decide if they wanted to veil or not. She wanted to be able to speak freely against the Islamic regime that had taken over. She wanted a different one. And she was arrested and sentenced to 10 years of prison without a trial, without a lawyer, without any witnesses. And, served 2.5 years of that. And through miracles, we ended up in the United States. But I have felt so strongly with Constitution Week this week and Constitution Day and every year when that passes, how grateful I am that we live in the speech and religion and so many other freedoms that people can't barge into our homes without, knocking and announcing and without a warrant. And so I've just been reflecting on my childhood in this time.
What do you think it is, Professor, that has allowed for this particular document to survive as well as it has over the years? And I know that it's being torn apart a little bit right now, or at least we're thinking about that. We have ideas like constitutional crisis and whatnot, but right now it still seems to be the bedrock of our country and a model for the world.
Absolutely. It is a model for the world. I think all but 3 countries have established written constitutions after ours. I think it was a beautiful document, divinely inspired by people who didn't agree on a lot of things like we don't today, but yet decided it was worth it to talk and come together, that united as a, as colonies and now as a country, we're all going to be stronger and better. And I still believe that we can do that today. I think we have some challenges, like you said, with not wanting to talk to each other, that, on both sides, we want to shut down speech. And we need to remember these constitutional protections that our founders really insisted upon. They were so worried because it came from a background like I did, with an authoritarian government that didn't stand for opposition. And they want, because we have those rights, try to remember those rights as much as possible.
Shima, you've cut out a little bit. Can you still hear us?
I can, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to ask like a follow-up question on, Greg mentioned it a little bit. Do you feel like we're heading into a constitutional crisis? Are we already there?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways to view that. I know my friend Judge Tom Griffith believes we are in a constitutional crisis because we're just not speaking. I mean, I think there's an NBC poll recently that said 80% of Democrats and Republicans view the other side with suspicion, and that if the other side takes over, that the country will be ruined. I think a lot of people have strong feelings, but at the same time, I think of my own experience and going back to my childhood, there's no chance for us today, right? Officers or even ICE agents arrest us, put us in prison without a lawyer, without a trial, without an appeal. And even, the mistakes, and some people have, been really upset about people being detained unlawfully. Those mistakes are corrected. We live in a country where the rule of law still prevails, that courts can challenge the executive, where the legislation can be a check on the president. We still have this separation of powers and these checks and balances that the founders put into place. So me personally, I don't think we're at the place of constitutional crisis yet. I think we need to continue to believe in our three separate branches and continue to practice the rule of law as much as possible and check those leaders that might be stepping out of their bounds, whether they be judges or the executive or legislators.
And you kind of answered my question before I asked it. And I appreciate that when you talk about the three branches of government. But a lot of us think of the Constitution as being the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, that type of thing. Those are amendments to the Constitution, very much a part of it. But talk to our listeners about the framework of the articles, when the Constitution was formed, what it looked like then.
Well, yes. I mean, we have Article 1, 2, and 3 all establishing powers for the executive, the legislature, and the courts, separating those powers, right? Legislatures create laws. Judges, are a kind of mediators. I mean, it's questionable how it all started, but very early on, the Supreme Court established judicial review of both executive and legislative actions, which has been a really cool thing in our democracy, for judges to be able to check both branches when they get out of hand. When the legislature violates the Constitution, the judges are the ones that check that, and the executive, of course, is the one that enforces the law and has power over the lots of different areas, including taxing and foreign relations and things like that. But the reasons why these branches were made separate is so that there can be checks, and we do have those checks in place, right? There, as we see recently, right, with some of Trump's actions, some of Biden's actions, some of Obama's actions, judges have stood in the way of executive orders and other actions that they felt were a violation of the Constitution. And so in those ways, I don't think we're in a constitutional crisis. I think our system is working. And, some might disagree with, with the level of power of each branch, and maybe the executive branch is growing in power. I would probably agree with those arguments today. I think since Obama, really, we've been growing in executive power recently. And so, there are things that legislatures and courts can do to step in and stop those things. But I don't think we're in a state of crisis just yet.
I have one final question for you. How do we talk to each other better if we view the, quote, other side with suspicion? What are your recommendations?
Yeah, I think we should assume the best of each other. I think something I've learned personally after the 2016 election was, I think, trying to understand the other side. I think sometimes people see the other side and say, how could they see this way? They must be, bigoted. They must be intolerant. I mean, on either side, right? But I do think most people, the vast majority of people, are hoping for the best for the country, for all the individuals in the country. And I think if we view each other as truly wanting the best for the country, then we can look at our various policy stances and try to understand them and try to understand, well, why do they view things that way? And actually listen to them, right? Listen to people on different sides. I actually remember in 2016 noticing myself feeling one-sided on things, and then forcing myself to stop listening and partaking in cable news first, and also in people that were very one-sided. And so I try to have a more balanced approach to media and try to understand the news in a way where I don't feel like the other side is trying to break America. I do think both sides are trying their vision of a more beautiful America, a more prosperous America, and I think they differ. But if we are able to see each other as, look, we see things differently, but we all want a better America, I think that could help.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. That was Professor Shima Bharadwaran-Baughman from the Brigham Young University's Wheatley Institute College of Law. When we come back after the break, the Utah legislature is picking its redistricting panel. We'll get into who will be on the drawing, who will be involved in that and drawing new maps for Utah, and if they'll be able to produce a draft in time for the judge next week's deadline. We'll be right back.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. A man has been arrested after police accused him of having two young girls in a refrigerated trailer on I-15 in Utah County yesterday.
Police are saying this tractor trailer is the vehicle that caused that huge crash that shut down the freeway in Linden yesterday. After it came to a stop, arrest documents say a Utah Highway Patrol trooper saw a pair of eyes inside the trailer while they were inspecting it. Investigators say when they opened it up, they found a 12 and 14-year-old girl inside with no way of getting out, and the thermostat set at 30 degrees. Documents say the girls had been in the trailer since they left Huntington, Utah, and were on their way to Salt Lake City. The driver, 28-year-old Jacob Ortel Scott, has been booked into the Utah County Jail on suspicion of reckless, aggravated child abuse. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
We now know which Utah lawmakers will be drawing the state's new congressional maps after a judge invalidated the current ones. A 9-member committee of state lawmakers, led by Representative Candace Perucci and Senator Scott Sandel, will draw the maps. 7 members are Republicans and 5 had a hand in drawing the current maps. They have 1 week to submit their draft to a judge. The maps need to be finalized by November 10th. Your money at this moment, the Dow right now is up 180. That's 0.4%. We're at 46,197. Coming up, highs in the 80s today. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:32. Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Amanda, I want to tell people how they can look and feel 10 years younger because it's something you and I already know.
We lost weight with the SOTA weight loss program. I lost 34 pounds, 3 years ago now?
Yeah.
And I do feel younger. I have more energy, all because I worked through this wonderful program, SOTA Weight Loss.
And I let go of 70 pounds of fat weight over 5 months, and I actually did get comments, you look incredibly younger. It really felt good.
And I love the example I set for my kids to show them, look, we can celebrate things without having to eat stuff that's bad for our bodies.
And what helps is the accountability. And right now, this is the best way to do it. SOTA's bringing back their most popular offer of the season. Join now, and your partner joins for free in the Partner Program.
So you and your spouse, or you and your best friend, get going with SOTA Weight Loss.
They're the #1 weight loss company in America for client satisfaction and client results. You can find out by going to their website, SOTAweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Because SOTA is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-859-3220. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 to 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-859-3220. That's 800-859-3220 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-859-3220. 800-859-3220.
You need another bathroom. You want a back patio retreat. We have a plan. If you're looking to start a home improvement project, a discounted home equity line of credit from Zions Bank is an easy, affordable way to turn your home's equity into opportunity. Stop by your local branch to get started or visit zionsbank.com/HELOC to learn more. Loan subject to credit approval. Terms and conditions apply. See banker for details. A division of Zions Bank Corporation, N.A., member FDIC, equal housing lender. NMLS number 467014.
Hey, Ryan, you remember that trip we took in our tent trailer down to Southern California?
Oh, that was the best.
Making memories with Paris RV. Hook up to the 2025 Forest River Rockwood 16 OTG for only $9,195 or $148 per month, 0 down. Or the 2025 Highland Ridge Open Range 177 BH for only $14,995 or $171 per month, 0 down. Or the 2026 Coachman RV Catalina Summit Series 7 134 BHX for only $14,995 or $171 per month, 0 down.
Take your family out RVing with Paris RV.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. And here's Heather Kelly.
We've got some delay again northbound I-15 as you come up from 5300 south and head into South Salt Lake. It was due to a crash. It looks like it just cleared. It had been blocking a right lane or two, but it's gone now, so those delays are quickly clearing out. And it's the only slowdowns we have right now across the entire Wasatch Front, so things look good coming out of Tooele County on I-80 and SR 36, as well as going through Parley's Canyon on I-80 to and from Park City. The Serenoni Warehouse House Sale, Saturday, September 27th, 11 to 6 at the Utah Military Academy in Lehi. Save big on luxury blankets for babies, adults, and everyone in between. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
We should see a high of 83 today and tomorrow. Some clouds move in Friday night that could bring a few rain showers on Saturday afternoon. Right now, it's 68 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
In light of a recent Utah Supreme Court opinion basically affirming what the trial court judge did with respect to the redistricting that was done by the legislature, they now have a week to get together and drop some maps for the judge to reconsider, and there will be others that may be chiming in as well. But they formed a committee to do that, and we now know who's involved with that group.
That's right. So there's actually 10 members of the committee, and there are 8 Republicans. There are 2 Democrats on that committee, and we have we have co-chairs. So you have a chair from the House side, and that's Representative Candace Perucci. She served on the 2021 redistricting committee. You also have Scott Sandel, who's a senator. He's on the Senate side, so he's a co-chair, and he actually co-chaired the redistricting committee in 2021 as well. And then you have, for senators, you have Senator Luz Escamilla and Senator Lincoln Fillmore, Senator Don Ibsen, and Senator Mike McKell, who are going to serve on the committee as well. And then you have on the House side, you have Walt Brooks, Stephanie Grecius, Doug Owens, and Calvin Roberts. So they'll get together, and you're right, they have a week. They have until September 25th to have a map ready.
So I recognize Luz and Doug Owens as the Democrats. And
That's right.
To our listeners who are curious about the breakup 8-2,
yep,
I would say that's probably a very accurate
split
based on the percentage of legislators that are serving us. So
Yeah.
I don't have any problem with that personally.
Yeah. So again, remember, we've talked about this a number of times, redistricting. Why do we care? Why does this matter? So it matters because it determines who serves us in Congress. So it doesn't have anything to do with the Utah House districts, Utah Senate districts. It has to do with our congressional districts, and we have 4. So we have 4 congressional representatives. Typically, redistricting happens the year after a census. So it happened in 2021. They adopted maps. We have 4 representatives now, right, that all are working on maps that have now been thrown out. And so they have to redraw new ones, and now they have a week to do it.
And just to back up a little bit, in 2021, after the maps were drawn, a group got together and said, wait a minute, we
That's right.
the citizens passed this ballot initiative in 2018, 3 years earlier, saying we need to set up a commission, Better Boundaries, or whatever it ended up being called,
right.
and they will draft some proposals. Of course,
An
the
independent
legislature,
redistricting committee, yeah.
And I don't know, I mean, so we've got probably a dozen maps already on the horizon that this group can look at and say, okay, let's find one or tweak one or see what's going to make sense. And so I only say that because you think,
That's right.
well, a week to draw up maps is difficult, but there is a framework.
So there's a framework, and here's the issue, right? So you had one of the things that happened with the lawsuit is that you had the judge who said, okay, when Proposition 4 passed in 2018, it set up the Independent Redistricting Commission. It said you need to let them submit maps, but the Utah legislature doesn't have to accept those maps. However, the ones that they draw need to include these elements. And one of them was you can't consider partisan strength as you do it, and then you're trying to keep communities and cities together and avoid splitting them as much as possible, keeping them quote contiguous and compact. And if you have, we know we have one district that goes from Bountiful all the way to St. George, right? But one of the reasons it does that is because it takes some urban and some rural, right, as you go down the side of Salt Lake County. But when the plaintiffs filed their lawsuit, they're like, look, they didn't have to take our maps, and they didn't take our maps, but they also didn't follow the guidelines in Prop 4.
Yeah, if you look at the map and you see the 4 districts, you'll see that they are separated. The North District, the one you just described, basically the westerly part of the state, and then it goes sort of counterclockwise, just from the way I'm thinking about it. Until you look at Salt Lake County, until you look at the Mill Creek area, until you look at the fact that the
That's
maps
divided into
all
4 there.
converge
Yep.
at that place. And I think that's what made everyone uncomfortable. But also, I understand what you said yesterday, which is Salt Lake City is too small to be its own district.
Right.
Salt Lake County is too big to be its own district. So you've got to divide Salt Lake County somehow.
Somewhere, yeah.
And you don't necessarily have to put all of Salt Lake City in one of those districts.
It used to be that there was District 1. This was back when we had 3 districts, so before we had a 4th. District 1 did not incorporate Salt Lake City. Like, it would come up to that boundary right there. So we were in Davis County, and then just take all the northern part. That used to be Rob Bishop's district, right? Remember? And then you would have some of Salt Lake County, and then you would have Utah County. So kind of sliced more like a layer cake. But as we've grown and the state has grown, now we have this population in Salt Lake County that leans. There are pockets for sure that lean more Democratic. So one of the other things is, do you take into consideration where the voters live? That was part of the lawsuit, saying the Utah legislature drew the maps so that they could pick their voters, right? And they think it should be the other way. Well, anyway, the question is, can they do it? Yes. Can people submit other maps? Yes. Will the judge look at those maps? Yes. Will the public have a chance to weigh in? Yes, starting next week.
Yeah, and it's going to put the judge in a difficult position, but she put herself there in some respects by saying, get them all together, and if you don't come to an agreement, I guess what we're saying is she may, I don't remember, she may end up picking one. The problem that she got into, and it was really a brilliant decision that she issued, I know some legislators disagree with me, was that she ordered the legislature to create maps, and they said, you don't, there's a separation of powers.
You're not the boss of us.
You don't order that.
Yeah.
So she tweaked it and said, okay, I'm asking you, I'm inviting you
please
to
do this.
That. And
Yeah.
she invited others too. So there could be any series of maps. But it'll be interesting to see how they do that. I can see I know this is an arbitrary distinction, dividing Salt Lake along State Street or I-15.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
And
sure.
Dividing it in half.
So I'll just tell you, my area is, we have some weird things in my city. This is a local house map, but in Pleasant Grove, we literally have streets that interweave like your fingers interweave with Cedar Hills. You can't divide unless you're doing a zigzag, and so of course they didn't do that. But this is what's interesting, and this is to your point about who gets to choose. The legislature has to submit a map. I guess they don't have to. They're probably going to submit a map. Other people, groups, organizations could submit maps. We already know that the Independent Redistricting Commission has at least 3 maps that they can submit. The judge will end up deciding if the map submitted by the legislature meets the requirements of Proposition 4. And if it does not meet those, then she can decide to choose another map.
I wouldn't be surprised, and maybe I'm wrong, that they can't do this, that this legislative task force submits more than one map. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know if they would do that, but maybe.
They're A map, their B map, and their, you know what I mean? To give the judge so that it's not an all or nothing. I don't know. I just...
Well, it needs to comply. I mean, and I guess that's the thing. It needs to comply to what the judge says needs to happen here.
Right. Yeah, and
they have a week.
Yeah, I just think that's plenty of time if they get together. And it's a good group. I mean, it's a blue ribbon group if you look at it from top to bottom. You've got people.
And then public comment will start next week on Thursday, on September 25th.
And you said 5 of the members of that group were on the legislative
The previous
group
one, so they already have experience as well.
Yeah,
they do. Yep.
Well, we learned last night, really, in Pennsylvania, 3 police officers were killed and 2 were wounded after a suspect opened fire on them as they were serving a search warrant. Police say they killed the shooter. We have the latest details straight ahead. That's coming up next, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, sponsored by @YourServicePros.
Hey, want to hear something great? Right now at Wendy's, you can get 2 of the #1 selling bacon cheeseburger in all fast food, the JBC, plus medium fries and a medium soft drink for just $8. Want to hear something else great? Double the burger means double the bacon. Now that's a game changer. 2 of the #1 bacon cheeseburgers with fries and a drink for just $8. Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Request $8 JBC meal deal to obtain discount. Individual items at regular price.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-486-9600. That's 800-486-9600.
The United States is facing a mental health crisis, but there is hope. At Huntsman Mental Health Foundation, they're transforming how mental health is treated and researched, bringing compassion, innovation, and access to those who need it most. Your donation helps fund life-saving care and cutting-edge research that leads to better treatment for everyone. It's already making a difference. Huntsman Mental Health Foundation has built Utah's first ever mental health crisis care center, open 24/7 to anyone, regardless of ability to pay. They've also recently launched a youth crisis care program at Huntsman Mental Health Institute, giving kids and teens immediate support. And Huntsman Mental Health Foundation is expanding services like therapy, medication management, geriatric care, and treatment-resistant support. Join us. Be part of the change. Donate today at hmhf.org. That's hmhf.org.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to the end of summer sale at AutoZone. We're celebrating the end of long days and short nights with big deals for a short time, like car wash. Right now, you can save 20% on the Armor All Complete Car Wash Kit. Need new brakes? Duralast brake pads are free with the purchase of Duralast rotors. We've also got oil deals and more. We're ending the summer right with the end of summer sale at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Did you know 96% of Americans lose an average of $111,000 in Social Security income? And it's because they claim their benefits at the wrong time. Don't lose $111,000 in Social Security income that's rightfully yours. Learn how you could wring every nickel out of your benefits on Retirement Solutions Radio this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, right here on KSL. News Radio 1027.
Advanced Window Products. Factory direct. Affordable windows. Call today. They're on their way. Financing available. Save now, pay later. AdvancedWindows.com.
If you're talking, they will hear you.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy. So we show them how. And we tell them with honest conversations that let them know what we expect. Not just one time, but every chance we get. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. Kids not only need to know the dangers and how to avoid them, they need to hear it often from you. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be taken without a prescription and never shared with friends or family. It's dangerous and illegal. So talk with your kids and guide them through the challenges of growing up safe and healthy. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
So talk, they hear you. You can do it if you try.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
The new Inside Sources.
In a situation that is eerily similar to what happened here in Utah just a few weeks ago, in Pennsylvania, 3 police officers were killed and 2 others wounded after a suspect opened fire on them as they were there to serve a warrant. Police say they killed a shooter. ABC's Mola Lengi on scene in York County, Pennsylvania.
Several agencies investigating the deadly shootout that rocked this rural Pennsylvania town, leaving 3 law enforcement officers dead and 2 critically injured.
Count of officers down, please. We have 1 officer down.
Authorities say the incident unfolded around 2 in the afternoon as officers arrived to serve a warrant in North Codorus Township, about 2 hours west of Philadelphia, when suddenly shots rang out.
I was just so sad to see this, right? It's a domestic incident. My mind first went to domestic violence. It looks like it was stalking charges, but that they were going to file with the shooter, who was 24. He was 24 years old and took out 3 police officers, wounded 2 others. They're in critical condition. And it's the same county where a police officer was killed earlier, just a few months ago.
Yeah, and they were there to serve a stalking warrant. Something said, hey, your
doing
domestic
that.
partner wants you to leave her alone. And they go to serve that. And instead of just taking it and owning it, he opens fire on the police officers. He ends up being killed, which didn't happen in the case in Fremont and Garland.
Right.
But the officers were nonetheless treated the same, which was as bad as you can for doing something really. And we talk about this a lot. These domestic violence calls are the most, in my experience, among the most dangerous calls a police officer ever gets. And you don't have a choice, because and this isn't a domestic violence call, but it's a domestic violence related service. They know they're going to serve process. They know they're going to serve him with a warrant, or a warrant for stalking. And he's there and with a gun loaded. I mean, they can't just.
He was waiting for them.
They can't just show up in an armed tank every time they have to serve a warrant. or a stalking injunction or
well,
something
and
like
it sounded
that.
to me like there were 5 of them, right? If he was able to kill 3 and wound 2, there were
Yeah.
at least multiple officers who were there. The charges that he was going to be served on: trespassing, loitering, prowling at night, and domestic related investigation that had begun a day earlier. But look,
Which are minor charges on
They're
their face,
seeing the
right.
same thing. I'm seeing pictures of the same kind of thing we just lived through in Tremonton, where you have just these lines of police officers. You've got the community who's trying, rallying around saying, I can't believe this happened in our community, right? There's somebody who, a neighbor who talked about the shooter, saying she remembers him from Boy Scouts and he was, selling stuff for fundraisers. It just is so tragic that we're having these shootings. Attorney General Pam Bondi called violence against police a scourge.
Yeah, and it is. It's something that we're dealing with in our country in ways that I teach at the police academy. I've talked about that several times. You get these young people, and you hope that there's not some chilling effect on people who are considering a career in law enforcement, because there's too much danger. I mean, and you're still going to get great kids. You're still going to get great people that want to do it. But I mean, if you're a parent of a young woman or man who is in their early 20s and saying, okay, I've got my college degree, I want to go serve in law enforcement, I mean, you're going to hold your breath and before you answer that question. And I thought about that myself when I was at the DA's office teaching at the academy, when my kids all went through that stage where they were about to make their life decision.
Yeah.
And I thought, what would I
Don't
say?
do that.
What would I say if my daughter said, Dad, I want to go be in law enforcement? And my answer was, I would support it, but
Yeah.
it sure hold your breath.
Interestingly, that's a good question. KSL TV actually did a story, I think yesterday, 2 days ago, that there's been a staffing surge after a shortage. So with the Utah Department of Corrections, it's not necessarily all officers, but I think in some ways, some people will reconsider, and in some ways, people are going to say, look, it is dangerous out there, and I want to make a difference in my community. But for sure, we've got to have these conversations about how do you, what do you do here in this type of situation? And just absolutely tragic. I mean, one of the things, I mentioned this was a county where they had another police officer shot. It was actually back in February. I thought it was summer, but a man with a pistol and zip ties entered a hospital's ICU. Do you remember that story?
Yeah.
Took staff members hostage and then had a shootout that left an officer dead and the shooter, almost shooter.
It is a little bit telling, Holly, that 5 officers were injured in as much as 5 officers were there. You don't expect that big of a group to serve a warrant for the arrest of somebody that's, again, when you read the charges, they didn't sound to me like they were serious. But a warrant means we're hooking you up. We're taking you to jail. But you don't usually have 5 officers go to a house to serve a warrant. So they must have had some knowledge that he was going to be difficult. I mean, and I'm sure that I'm relatively sure that they were wearing protective body armor, but that doesn't protect you from, a shot to the head or something like that. And some body armor
we don't have those details yet. But what we know, right, is that there were these 3 that were killed, 2 others who were wounded, and Josh Shapiro, who is the governor. I mean, he just said it's just a tragic day. And he speaking of Josh Shapiro, he had his own threat. Remember, he had his mansion set on fire while he was still in it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
A few months ago.
Yeah, so York County, Pennsylvania. And I'm sure it's a beautiful area. This is the North Codorus Township where it occurred. Not familiar with that at all.
Really rural.
Yeah. And, when you talk about law enforcement and sort of the chilling effect, we had one officer here in Utah who was injured, but we saw him in uniform not long afterwards. He was at the county fair up there in Box Elder County with his dog. The dog was injured pretty seriously.
Right.
And in this particular instance in Pennsylvania, there are 2 injured, and you wonder if you're an officer and you've been through that, do you put the uniform back on?
Yeah.
I mean, our deputy sheriff in Box Elder County did, but I don't know. I mean, that might be the time when your mother or your spouse says, okay, you got
take
lucky.
a desk job.
we're gonna find something else for you to do.
Find an off ramp. Look, I did a quick search, and I actually was able to find more information than I had this morning at 6 o'clock when I was trying to put my newsletter together. But here's some more information. They were taking this very seriously. They had a drone in the air. They were approaching cautiously, but this man that they've identified as Matthew Ruth, 24 years old, he was in nearby cornfields dressed in camouflage. He did not want to talk, and he started firing. And a neighbor said they heard at least 30 shots ring out.
Oh, he was hidden.
He was
wasn't in
hidden.
the house at all.
Yeah. He was not in the house. He was outside waiting for them. And they had drone surveillance, but he was hidden in the cornfield. And right now, I don't know if they've harvested corn there yet or if they have the corn stalks. But you're close, right? You're close to harvest time, and he was able to hide.
So an officer could very well have been on the side of the house, thinking he was out of the line of sight for the windows when he was really right in the line of sight.
So there were 3 officers left for dead outside, and then the shooter moved on to the farmhouse where 2 more officers were shot and wounded, and then one of the injured officers was able to return fire and kill the shooter.
Yeah. Oh, my word.
Wow.
That community must be rocked. I mean, you look at what happened in Tremont and Garland and that area of our state, and this is just as bad. I mean, one more officer, but it's devastating. These things are devastating. And you and I sat through 2 funerals for these officers and their families and listened to speakers and fellow officers. That was the most telling with the fellow officers, because it's such a camaraderie, and this is tragedy. I could bet you that Utah's going to send some police officers up there to show support.
So we had one of our deadliest days. That was one of their deadliest days for Pennsylvania law enforcement in the last 100 years.
Oh yeah, it's got to be. Yeah. And you know, these are when we talk about the death of Charlie Kirk and other things, where these sort of political assassinations or shootings, or just the things that are happening there. This is not political. This is just a person who it's domestic violence related, a dangerous situation for law enforcement officer, and putting their lives at risk. What they do every day.
Straight ahead, we have the Utah Speaker of the House, Mike Schultz. He's going to join the show to talk to us about the latest killing, about the latest on the killing of Charlie Kirk and how Utahns can move forward. Please stay with us on KSL News Radio. You can stream us on KSL News Radio app, sponsored by At Your Service Pros. We'll be right back.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Claire Scott, KSL's top story this hour. And it is breaking news. Charlie Kirk's widow, Erica Kirk, has been elected to lead his company, Turning Point USA, as CEO and chair of the board. The board announced this just moments ago, saying Charlie built Turning Point to survive the greatest tests. A 20-year-old Pennsylvania man has been arrested and accused of making a video threatening Utah Valley University. Summit County Sheriff's Office Sergeant Tyler Talbot tells KSL TV the comments were serious enough to get the attention of the FBI.
Our investigators, at this point in the investigation, they do believe that this is an isolated incident.
Police say Blake Rogers said in the video he was in Park City to, quote, kill woke. Arrest documents claim he told police he understood why it was taken as a threat, but claimed it was just a joke. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. President Trump is reacting to ABC's decision to pull Jimmy Kimmel from its network following Kimmel's comments about Charlie Kirk's killer.
Well, Jimmy Kimmel was fired because he had bad ratings more than anything else, and he said a horrible thing about a great gentleman known as Charlie Kirk. And Jimmy Kimmel is not a talented person. He had very bad ratings.
Democratic leaders are critiquing the move, calling it an attack on free speech. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 249 points. The S&P is up 49 points. Coming up, highs in the 80s. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
For over 22 years, speaking on business on KSL News Radio has been a beloved tradition, celebrating our heroic business leaders and Utah consumers who have helped build one of the strongest state economies in the nation. Now, under the stewardship of the Salt Lake Chamber and hosted by Chamber President and CEO Derek Miller. The program continues to shine a spotlight on those who make Utah's business environment dynamic and thriving. With his expertise and passion, Derek brings the stories of our business community to life. As part of the Salt Lake Chamber, Speaking on Business is proud to continue its legacy of highlighting inspiring stories, trends, and special guests. Support Utah businesses now and be part of Utah's thriving economy. More information can be found at slchamber.com. That's slchamber.com.
Worried about market losses? If headlines are keeping you up at night, it's time to take control. Hi, I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and I know you've worked hard to save. But in times like these, what if can turn into what now? If you're planning to retire or are in retirement, you need a strategy that helps protect your future. At Trajan Wealth, you can capture market gains, protect your account from losses, and guarantee income for life. Right now, you could receive a bonus of up to 30% or annual growth of up to 10% for retirement income. You heard me right. An upfront bonus of up to 30% or annual growth of up to 10%, all guaranteed to boost your lifetime income in retirement. Don't leave your future to chance. Plan with confidence. Call Trajan today at 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company, DBA, in most states as Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions.
I'm back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Does it feel like someone stabbing a knife into your heel? Or does your lower back pain get worse as the day goes on? The Good Feet store wants to help you like we helped Ann.
Every time I stood up, pain just shot up my legs. Fortunately, I found the Good Feet store. I went to them after my doctor diagnosed me with plantar fasciitis. And now, thanks to the Good Feet store, I'm 100% pain-free.
Wouldn't it be nice to get back to doing what you love like Patrick did?
I was in constant pain. Somehow my fiance and I found our way into the Good Feet store. Put my foot on the arch support system. I put them in my shoes, walked out of the store. All the pain was gone. My back, my knees, my ankles. Thank you. Thank you, everybody at the Good Feet store. You gave me my active life back.
Come in and get your free personalized fitting at the Good Feet store. Find the location nearest you and schedule an appointment at goodfeet.com.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Heather Kelly.
Well, things are looking really good on all the roadways now. Finally, no delays anywhere that I can see. That is the first time in several hours that's happened. If you're on the I-15 corridor, both northbound and southbound are at good speed throughout Utah, Salt Lake, Davis, and Weber counties. A good commute around the Salt Lake Valley on the east and west side belt routes, as well as on the 201 freeway coming out of Tooele County. And city streets are pretty quiet as well right now. The Serenoni Warehouse Sale, Saturday, September 27th, 11 to 6 at the Utah Military Academy in Lehi. Save big on luxury blankets for babies, adults, and everyone in between. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
A high of 83 today with mostly sunny skies. Tomorrow, clouds roll in and we'll see a high of 83 again. Right now, it's 72 in Fair. I'm Claire Scott from the KSL Common Spirit House Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Greg, we have been speaking about the murder of Charlie Kirk for a week or more, and we've also been speaking about how do we bridge divides, how do we ratchet down the heat, and I was able to read an article in the Washington Times by Utah Speaker Mike Schultz about that very thing, and he is kind enough to join us on our show today.
That's wonderful, and I read it too. It's a really, I don't know how he got hooked up with the Washington Times, but it got national attention, and it's really a very, very well written and thought out article. I like it.
Welcome, Mr. Speaker. Thanks for joining us today.
Greg and Holly, thank you. It's an honor to be with you guys today, and I appreciate you bringing this up and having the conversation.
Will you just start by telling our listeners some of what you said in there? It really was a powerful article.
Yeah, absolutely. So First off, I think our hearts and thoughts, first and foremost go to Charlie Kirk's family, his beautiful wife and kids, and his close friends. I can't imagine, what they're going through, and then also for those that were there on that day. I mean, I know most of us saw a lot of things on social media and in the news and different things that we probably wish we hadn't have seen, because there's so many different cameras, so many different cell phone videos going around, and some of those things are hard to take back. I can't imagine actually being there and having to witness that and the firsthand. And so, but and then obviously, I think the next thing that comes to mind is why does something like that have to happen in Utah? As a Utah leader, that was what came right next after those first thoughts. And why did it have to be Utah? We very much pride ourselves in Utah being the best managed state in the nation, the number one most giving back state in the nation, lowest poverty rate in the nation, one of the lowest crime rates in the nation. And so we have a really good reputation on the national front, and then all of a sudden something like this happens in Utah, something so horrific and tragic. It was really, really scary, but really sad. But I could not have been more proud in the way Utah came together and handled it. The citizens came together instead of doing violence and riots and things like that have happened in the past. We came together, we prayed, we held vigils. Governor Cox did a phenomenal job leading the state on the national and world stage, and our law enforcement, I just could not be more proud. And I think going through that, I hope that we use this as a learning lesson, the adversities and the challenges we face in our life. If we learn from them and we embrace it, it makes us stronger and better. And so I hope this little bit of unity that we feel right now, that we're able to take on it and build upon it and learn from it and use it as a learning experience.
Mike, I have to say you hit a chord, because when this first occurred, I thought the exact same thing. Why did it have to be Utah? And I know that almost seems a little selfish. Like this happens somewhere else. This is not Utah. Yeah. And the governor hit on that Friday, and he said, I hoped why did it have to be Utah? And well, let's just hope that it wasn't a Utahn. Let's hope that there was something else. But it was Utah, and it was a Utahn, and we did come together. I mean, it's been interesting, hasn't it? And I think your article goes through this really well. How we've done in the days since, and how we're continuing to, like, for example, UVU's got things on campus to help the people that were there. But Utah's really risen to the occasion, haven't they?
They really have, and I could not be more proud of the way that Utah's came together on this and shown, I believe, the right way forward. And something else too that I hit on a little bit in the article that I really want to bring up, and you talk about UVU and the college campus, and is this is a learning opportunity for our kids that are watching this, because it happened on a college campus, because Charlie Kirk was either so popular or so divisive with the younger crowd. People knew who he was. Kids knew who Charlie Kirk is, and so I don't think this is true for just college students. I think it's true for high school students as well. But they're watching us. Our kids are watching us at this moment in time and how we lead moving forward. And so I hope that we can continue as a state to come together. Governor Cox can still lead us through this, because our kids are watching us, and I hope they learn. And Governor Cox hit on the point with our kids. Hey, now's an opportunity for you to see what you don't like in society and to go out and change it. And so I hope that we use that as a learning experience to build upon as well moving forward.
So there's a part in here just before that paragraph, actually, that you're just describing that really stood out to me as well. The path forward is not rooted in anger or retaliation, and it begins with a firm commitment that political violence is never acceptable. And this is what really stood out. Not when it happens to people we agree with, and not when it happens to those we oppose. To excuse it once is to invite it in next time. Can you weigh in on that a little bit more?
Yeah, I absolutely. It's so easy to if it happens on your side or against your side to have a certain reaction. But really, that type of violence, none of us should condemn, regardless of what side you're on. It really should not matter. And you know, if we don't lead out on this and we don't show it that way, and again, you know, I want to come back to, like, I have so many of my Democrat colleagues that sincerely reached out to me and were very sorrowful for what had happened, and I couldn't have appreciated that more. And so, and there's another line that I put in there too, that, you know, if we don't take and use this the right way, and we use this to create divides, then we've lost twice. And that just and it furthers and deepens those divides, then we've lost twice. But if we can find a way to look at both sides, regardless of what side you're on this issue, and say, look, I would have felt the same way if it would have been somebody on the more liberal side, as I feel on the more conservative side. And because either side, it is wrong. We need to have the conversations. We need to have tough conversations. But let's take that out at the ballot box. Let's vote. Let's get engaged. Let's have those conversations and not resort to violence.
It's sad also, Mike, that this fell on the heels of a double police shooting up in Box Elder County, where I think Utah rose to the occasion on that as well. But we had that occur. We had this horrible shooting at UVU occur, and at the same time, our kids, our young people, not just college age, but even younger than that, are going back to school. What would be your message to young people right now who are thinking, what is this world that I'm about to enter into?
Yeah.
What am I looking forward to?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And on top of that, you know, a few months before that, it happened in Minnesota with the political shootings in Minnesota as well. So there's a lot of, you know, not just the stuff in Utah, but the Minnesota. And I think the thing that I would come back to on this is again, it's kind of where the Governor Cox said, like, you guys have a moment in time to change, to help be part of the solution moving forward. But I think one of the things that I point out to, and I think it's okay, I think it's 100% okay to feel sorrowful, to feel all the feelings that you're going to feel, but that we shouldn't live in fear around this. We still have to live our lives. Yes, we want to be thoughtful. We need to be careful in the way we move forward, but we shouldn't live in fear, and we shouldn't let fear make the decisions. But we're thoughtful in the approach forward, and that we look to change things as we're moving forward.
Thank you so much for joining us. We've been speaking with Utah House Speaker Mike Schultz, who wrote a really powerful article in the Washington Times on moving forward. Stay with us. We'll be back after the break on what we learned about Tyler Robinson from the Washington County Sheriff.
Cooler weather. What a relief, unless you have old drafty windows. Soon the heat will escape through the cracks and your energy bill's going to go through the roof. So now's the time to call Advanced Window Products and get brand new state-of-the-art custom windows and frames at factory direct pricing. The factory is right here in Salt Lake City, where they've been building precision windows since 1986, and you're going to save a lot of money since there's no middleman markup. You save 30, even 40% on your new windows. Even better, call now and they'll give you an extra $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Double pane argon-filled windows with a low-energy triple coating, any style, any color, and Advanced Windows gives you a lifetime warranty. If you have an issue, they're not 10 states away. They're right here in town, and they offer 0% 60-month financing. So make the call now. Get $2,500 off. 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
Stop for a moment and think about this. Do you know how much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Or will the government take a bigger chunk than you thought? Remember, you still might owe taxes on that money. But do you have a plan to help make sure you don't pay more than you should? At Capital Wealth Advisors, we believe you deserve to keep more of what you've earned, which is why we're here to help you navigate the confusing world of retirement taxes. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Right now, taxes are historically low, but they won't be this low forever. So call the Capital Wealth Advisors team today so you don't miss out on this opportunity. 801-210-5500. That's 801-210-5500. You work hard for your money, and we'll work just as hard to help you keep it. Capital Wealth Advisors, 801-210-5500. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor. Firm may not give tax advice.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Hi, it's Tori DeVito. In every family, small conversations can make a big impact. I grew up on tour with my parents. Kind of different, but we bonded over music just like other families do over sports, camping, or other interests. And we talked. Little everyday conversations from silly to serious that built a foundation over time. Honest conversations, like when my dad shared his experiences as an alcoholic.
Your honesty about that part of your life gave me a sense of integrity that I wanted to uphold in my own life. And I was so grateful that you and Mom had become these sober, stable people who were always there for me.
I wanted you to know, from someone who's been in recovery more than 30 years now, that hard work is what creates success, not alcohol or other drugs, whether it's music or anything else. I said it a lot, and I'm glad you took it to heart.
Talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Mom and Dad used to argue about everything, especially about Dad's drinking. My family went from totally crazy to quiet, calm, and even peaceful when Mom started going to Al-Anon family groups. I wanted a better relationship with Dad, so I asked Mom if she would take me to her Al-Anon meetings or to Alateen. I'm sure glad I did. If someone's drinking troubling you, you might be surprised at what you can learn in an Al-Anon or Alateen family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-ALANON or go to alanon.org.
Inside Sources.
Yesterday, we learned a little bit more about Tyler Robinson, and we heard from the Washington County officials. If you recall, he was a resident down there. He lived down there, and they actually responded to him first after he had turned himself in, or at least turned himself in to his parents. Washington County officials revealed that and more after his arrest. KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson breaks it down.
Tyler Robinson's parents contacted a friend who was a retired sheriff's deputy. Sheriff Nate Brooksby says that person called him the night of September 11th.
He said, "Hey, I know who Charlie Kirk shooter is. I know the family through religious association, and he's in Washington County now, and we're working on trying to get him to come in voluntarily."
The retired deputy said Robinson was suicidal and was afraid of being shot by police or having SWAT come to his house. So they negotiated a way to make Robinson comfortable enough to turn himself in. The retired sheriff's deputy and his parents took him to the sheriff's office where he was greeted by plainclothes officers. He was not handcuffed. Then overnight, he was moved to Utah County. Brooksby says Robinson was quiet and somber through it all. Today, Brooksby also cleared up some confusion online.
Matt Robinson, my retired deputy, has been been harassed. He's had to leave his house at this point.
He reiterated that Matt Robinson, Tyler's father, is not the same person as Matt Robinson, the retired sheriff's deputy. Heather Peterson, KSL News Radio.
Can you just imagine being the sheriff and having a call that Charlie Kirk's shooter is in our county? He's home right now, and he's suicidal.
Yeah, look, one of the things I learned, and this was yesterday's, there was a press conference yesterday after our show ended, but one of the things that I learned, and I had already seen, some rumors online that spread immediately that this kid was the sheriff's son or a deputy sheriff's son, and they had confused somebody with the same name, right? But the really concerning part, is he has been so harassed, he's had to leave his house. That's awful, I think.
literally the same name, Matt
Yeah,
Robinson.
Matt Robinson,
retired
right.
sheriff, Matt
Right.
Robinson,
Look,
father of the suspect.
Holly is a relatively unusual name, but there are additional Holly Richardsons out there, including one who was murdered. So that was sad. But there are several reporters who are Holly Richardsons. I mean, come on, people.
Right, yeah, you can't do that. Luckily, Greg scored us. There's only one.
Well, that is true. That is true. There is only one Greg scored us.
You know, listening to Sheriff Brooksby, it was just you had to wonder what he's thinking about at the time. He also spoke a little bit more about how Robinson felt about turning himself in.
He knew it was inevitable that he would be caught. He was fearful of a SWAT team hit on his house, or he was fearful of being shot by law enforcement. So part of the negotiation and getting him to bring himself in was that we would treat it as delicate and as soft as possible.
And you would expect that if he's suicidal and he's reluctant to turn himself in, that's a very high alert for police officers.
Sure.
That's that whole suicide by cop.
Right.
I don't want to live. Let's bring it on. And I
Yeah.
want to go out with a bang. I mean, that had to be some pretty gut-wrenching time for certain law enforcement officers to go to that house. And I know his parents were there, and they probably gave at least some comfort that, hey, he doesn't have a gun. We have him here. He's calm and he's safe, but he's suicidal. I mean, I can't even imagine what those calls would have been like.
Yeah, and again, I think it's great coordination with law enforcement in Utah, but also with the family. And we've talked about the family a lot, right? And that I learned when they did the press conference before Tyler Robinson was officially charged that it was his mother who first recognized him, right? And it was the mom and the dad who were able to convince him, along with, it sounds like, a trusted family friend. And look, we have to be clear too. This Matt Robinson, who's the retired deputy, there's no indication that that's the family friend that came over that had the same name. They didn't
another
link
thing.
those.
Right, because it was a family friend who was retired law enforcement.
Right.
But not it. Yeah, they did.
Nobody has named that. Nobody has said that those are the same people.
Yeah, there was also a religious leader that was involved.
That is
we
also
heard.
correct.
Right.
Also not named.
But and probably doesn't want to be named. I mean, who would want to? You know, when I heard yesterday, and it was about the time we were ending our show, that the Washington County Sheriff's Office was going to give their own press conference on this shooting, I thought, why? I mean,
right.
The Utah County Attorney already said a lot. I mean, a lot more than what people expected. And I think looking back, there was a method to that. But I thought, why did Washington County feel like they needed to do this?
Yeah.
But after I listened to it, I thought it makes perfect sense. For the one reason that you just mentioned, which is, hey, wait a minute, Matt Robinson is not Matt Robinson, and we're getting some problems down here. And also to talk about, we did our job.
Yeah.
We responded. He didn't talk about whether the kid made a statement
Right.
or a confession or anything in terms of an interview, but he talked about how that went
Yeah.
down. And I think that was appropriate. I think it was entirely appropriate, even though when it started, I thought, this is not a good thing to do.
Yeah. It's interesting that Brooksby said that after he got the call saying, hey, I think I know who Charlie Kirk's shooter is, that Brooksby immediately called Sheriff Mike Smith and said, I think we have the shooter. And Smith was like, how credible is your source? And he said, I trust this guy with my life.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So that was, we learned several things yesterday with that. And I thought that was valuable information. Right. And I would also say this, if you were harassing somebody that you think is the parent of the shooter, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that?
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason for it. I mean, they're no more responsible for it than anybody in the neighborhood or
I am.
state.
First of all, I'm sure the parents are heartbroken. Second of all, you don't even have the right person.
Right.
Right. And this is, I mean, this is not okay.
Right. And third, the parents took the high road.
They did.
Once they realized, I mean, mom, in some respects, helped solve this case, and
Yeah.
law enforcement did a brilliant thing, which was to release these photographs. They're hitting dead ends. They're not getting leads, and they're thinking, we got to throw something out there to the public. And so they released these photographs.
Yeah.
And again, when there's an investigation going on, police are often really reluctant to release too much of what they've got. But if they need some help, let's release some photographs. And sure shooting, mom sees this and says, that's
Do
our
you
boy.
realize what you just said?
Yeah, it was a
Sure
bad,
shooting.
Bad word. But because I was going to use a swear word, and I didn't want to say that, so I changed my.
Oh, we have
verbiage
to
right at the
watch our
last second.
metaphors,
Yeah.
don't we?
Yeah, sure
Yeah.
as heck. So,
Sure as heck.
so you see that, and what would what is that like? You think about what this call to the sheriff was like, what the call to Utah County Sheriff was like. What about the picture? What about mom when she
Right.
looks at this picture and says,
And has to call dad.
"That's my son."
Oh,
and they start doing their own investigation,
Yeah.
which is, "Hey, where were you last night?"
Right.
"Well, I was sick." And by the way, I was sick yesterday
Right.
when the shooting occurred. They start looking for Grandpa's .6
Gun.
and it's a distinctive weapon, and the family's putting two and two together more and more and more. I mean, you're a parent. I'm a parent.
Yep.
I just you wonder what's going through their heads. And
Yeah.
now, if they're under ridicule, I don't know. To me, I think that they did the right thing, that they were responsible.
Yeah.
And that's what I could see some parents saying, "Bring it on. We're gonna,
Well, and there is a case where at least a mom conspired to help cover up a murder of her daughter's soon-to-be ex-husband, right? That does happen, but in this case, that is not the case. Tyler Robinson has been charged now with 7 counts. He's in the Utah County Jail, and this will move forward. But again, when the Washington County sheriff spoke, we did learn some new information, and I think it was important that he pointed out we were not there to interview him. This wasn't really the jurisdiction for him to be interviewed. What they did was get him up to Utah County, where they were able to interview him and get him booked.
I've heard a little bit about that drive from Washington to Utah County, because the law enforcement officers doing that drive were hoping nobody knew what they were doing. I mean, had somebody leaked
Can
that,
you imagine?
if somebody had said, "Hey,
yeah.
he's being driven up from St. George to
And this
to
is what the
Orem,"
vehicle looks like.
and a marked police car from the
Yeah.
Utah County Sheriff's Office, that would have been awful. And I was sort of more guessing than based on any information I have. But that would have been a long drive for law enforcement officers, and they're not blaring lights and siren the whole time. They're driving up. It's 3 hours on a good day.
Yeah, and this was
2.5.
late in the evening, and it was already dark.
Right.
We know that. I think he got there around 11 p.m., something like that.
I think that's when he turned himself in. I think when he got booked.
That was
it.
No, you're right. You're right. Because you're right. So this would have been the middle of the night. Oh my goodness, the stuff we go through.
Right.
So we have many are on high alert because of all of this that has gone down. So Charlie Kirk's funeral is this weekend in Arizona, and security is said to be at Super Bowl levels. Super Bowl, that's high, like really, really high.
Level 1.
Level 1. Yeah, we're going to have more from News Nation straight ahead. Stay with us over the break.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
I am not a rich woman, but I feel like a rich woman every time I go in my closet. The best, hands down, present I've ever received was my husband secretly redid my closet with Closets by Design. So now when I go in there aren't all these shoes just junked on the floor. They're neatly sitting on their shelves. And my necklaces are hanging on their individual hooks, and earrings are in their little squares in this soft drawer that pulls out. It's just gorgeous. In fact, he saw how much I loved it. He had Closets by Design redo the garage. So now all the stuff, the tools, the toys, the junk is all in cabinets. When you open our garage door, you see cars. That's it. It's amazing. The things that Closets by Design can do, and it's going to save you money right now because you get up to 40% off plus an additional 15% off with 18-month financing. You can do so much with your closet, much more than you realize, with this wonderful Utah company, Closets by Design. Find out more at 1-800-BY-DESIGN or closetsbydesign.com.
It's 11:31 at KSL News Radio. I'm Verl Johansson. KSL's top local story this hour: a Huntington man has been arrested after police accused him of driving a refrigerated semi-trailer with 2 young girls inside. Utah Highway Patrol Lieutenant Clay Morgan says they found the 12 and 14-year-old girls in the trailer after it started a major crash that shut down the freeway in Linden yesterday.
They were standing when we made contact with them. They were very scared, very nervous. They obviously had no idea what was going on.
Morgan says the 2 girls are half-siblings to both the driver and the passenger, and they do not believe this is a case of human trafficking. He says they were on their way to visit a family member in Salt Lake. The man police say was driving the truck, Jacob Ortel Scott, has been taken to jail on suspicion of reckless aggravated child abuse. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. President Trump announced his administration is working to regain control of Afghanistan's Bagram Air Base while at a joint news conference with the UK Prime Minister.
We were going to keep Bagram, the big air base, one of the biggest air bases in the world. We gave it to them for nothing. We're trying to get it back, by the way. Okay, that could be a little breaking news. We're trying to get it back.
The Taliban took control of the airbase after the U.S. pulled out forces in 2021. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 189 points. The S&P is up 40 points. The NASDAQ up 245 points. And coming up, more clouds are coming into the state with temperatures in the 80s. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 11:32.
At BMW of Pleasant Grove, we believe that driving should be more than just a commute. It should be an experience. Feel the perfect fusion of performance, technology, and luxury with our stunning lineup of new and certified pre-owned BMWs. From the exhilarating drive of a 3 or 5 Series to the spacious elegance of an X7, experience a transparent and effortless car buying experience. Visit us at bmwofpg.com. BMW of Pleasant Grove. The ultimate driving machine is closer than you think.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Common Spirit Health has expert orthopedic care that gets you back at it and back to your best. Find skilled orthopedic physicians at Common Spirit locations who specialize in general orthopedics and repair of hips, knees, shoulders, and hands, so you can return to running races or chasing the grandkids. Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Orthopedic care with human kindness is here. Visit mountain.commonspirit.org.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Ricky Meese.
Back to a quiet drive on all the Valley freeways. No accidents, no delays. Our main secondaries also looking good at this time. Keep that big event energy big. Take UTA and skip the parking lot. Plan your trip at rideuta.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today's high 83 degrees with partly cloudy skies. Tomorrow more clouds come in with a high hitting 83 degrees again. Then we cool down a little bit to 80 degrees on Saturday with a 30% chance of rain. Right now it's partly cloudy and 73 degrees in Salt Lake City. I'm Verl Johansson from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
We're learning that Charlie Kirk's memorial service will be in Glendale, Arizona this Sunday at 11 a.m. I think that's noon Utah time. Security is, and it's going to be at the football stadium there, I'm told, and that the security is reportedly at Super Bowl levels as preparations continue. The stadium, I think, holds something like 70,000 people, and they're expecting 100,000. Trump, Vance, other White House officials are expected to be there. We do have News Nation's national correspondent, Alex Capriello, who is going to talk to us about what a high-level event this is. Alex, thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
And what are we hearing about the level of preparation for this? And am I correct that it's going to be at the stadium?
Yeah, you're right. State Farm Stadium. It's where the Arizona Cardinals play. Last time they had a Super Bowl there was Super Bowl 52. I think that was Chiefs and Eagles 2022. I was actually at that stadium for that Super Bowl, and I can attest to the level of security that's there. I mean, when you have that many people from all around the world coming, it's a lot of pressure for law enforcement. You were close to the capacity size, it's about 63,000. It's unclear how many, if they're going to go to like a sold-out capacity level or if they're going to tame it down a little bit. That's going to really be at the discretion of the United States Secret Service and of the State Farm Stadium staff. But regardless, obviously, this is a massive event that a lot of people want to attend, so security really has to be buttoned up. The big difference here is that when, State Farm Stadium chooses to have a Super Bowl, the NFL gives them about a 2 years advance notice. And so they literally take every single day of those 2 years to plan and prepare. Now they're trying to have the same type of security, but only have a week to prepare. So, it's a lot of pressure, like I mentioned, on these law enforcement partners, but they feel like they got everything at least underway in preparation for Sunday.
Can we ask about what those preparations look like? I've never attended a Super Bowl. What does it look like?
Yeah, so it's really a huge effort from a lot of different agencies. So from the outside looking in, outside of the stadium, it's going to be the Glendale Police Department, who is the lead agency. And they will coordinate with other local law enforcement, think sheriff's offices and various police departments that are in the nearby area, because they're all volunteering their own officers also as help. And then Glendale PD, so in addition to the several hundred officers that'll be outside either on foot or in their patrol cars, some of them in their uniforms, some of them in plain clothes blending into the general population. Then they'll also have drones that are flying at all times. They will have advanced security cameras that are being monitored 24/7 by officers off-site that are constantly looking for suspicious activity. And then, maybe you'll also see some other aerial assets like helicopters and whatnot, just kind of looking all around. And then from the inside of the stadium, it's no longer the police department's jurisdiction, but now it becomes the jurisdiction of the United States Secret Service. And that's only because, President Trump, Vice President Vance, and then various other levels of the Trump administration are going to be in attendance. So that has to really be buttoned up on the inside.
Alex, about 20-some years ago, we had the Olympics here in Utah, and I recall at those venues, we had almost like a cordoned-off area where you had to get through a fenced area where there were metal detectors. I am sure that no one's going to be allowed into this or near this stadium without passing through a metal detector and other kind of security like that, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking from experience, covering the campaign trail last year, where United States Secret Service is in charge of the event, they take it very, very seriously. You have to absolutely pass through those metal detectors. If for whatever reason you have a bad heart or you choose that you do not want to do that, well, then that's okay, but you're going to be pat down, and you're going to be pat down pretty thoroughly. In addition to that, there are certain things that you can't bring in, water bottles. So, like, think about those metal, I can't remember what they're called nowadays, but, the metal water bottles everyone carries around, those can be considered a weapon. So can't bring that in. Clear bags, I think, is the rule this Sunday. You're allowed a small clear bag that you can see all your items, but no backpacks, nothing of that nature that might be able to hide a sort of weapon or something that could be used to harm others.
Let me ask you about showing up. So if the funeral is planned for 11 a.m. and you have tens of thousands of people trying to get in through really heightened security, what time are people going to be showing up and ready to go into the stadium?
I wouldn't be surprised if there's people already outside State Farm Stadium right now. I can't say that for sure because I'm in Salt Lake City right here with you, still at the university covering students back to school. But with something like this that has drawn such emotional responses from people that want to pay their respects and honor the legacy of Charlie Kirk, I would not be surprised if they're lining up right now. They're not going to get into State Farm Stadium until Sunday, but I expect several thousand people really to be outside waiting to get in. And again, I don't know the final number of how many people of the general population will be allowed in, but, at the very least, you're going to need to be there hours ahead if you want the opportunity to be inside there for that event.
I hadn't thought about that, Alex, but it's not like you get a ticket for it. Is it
right.
First come, first served? And we're also reading that there's a suggested dress code.
Yep, that's my understanding of it. First come, first serve, and I don't have much to report in terms of dress code at this time. Sorry.
It's okay. We're seeing it's supposed to be Sunday best, red, white, or blue. But we didn't realize you were here in Utah, so we're so sorry that you're out here for that. But you're down in our neck of the woods, and you're covering my neck of the woods. You're covering the students going back to school. So let me just ask you, how have your responses been as you've asked students about that?
Yeah, it's really is heartbreaking. And candidly, I do a very good job of sort of leaving my thoughts and opinions out of everything I do for my job. That's my professional code. But, walking into this university, it's hard not to get choked up. I can feel this sense of heaviness inside here when I look at the students' faces that are standing outside the sort of gated fence that's protecting the area where Kirk was assassinated. You could see that this was a heavy, traumatic moment for so many of these students. I mean, keep in mind, there were several thousand of them that were literally there watching the moment that the bullet shot through Kirk's neck. So they are all dealing with just this heavy trauma. To the university's credit, they are doing a great job in providing resources and outreach and opportunities for folks to talk about what they saw, or if they just don't feel like talking about it but feel like watching a movie. I just walked past that, a classroom here on the university campus that's been designated with stuffed animals and an anime movie playing, just so that way people can just decompress and feel some level of comfort. So most certainly it's a tough time right now at this university. But if I could take a look and describe the students, I would say that they're rather resilient at this time, somber and really thoughtful about what happened, but also working through it together.
In our last minute, Alex, how would you describe that cordoned off area where the actual shooting took place?
So we saw some work here. I believe it was Monday afternoon. It was the first time that the university was open to staff. They also opened it up to the media. They gated off the amphitheater, and I'm not sure how familiar you are with Utah Valley University, but sort of in their main quad area, they have several tiers of grassy sort of seating areas, and that's where Charlie Kirk was having his event. So they've gated that off. And in the actual section where his canopy was and where he was sitting, they had completely tore up the grass and the sod, and instead were putting fresh pavers down. And it was an all-day construction effort where we saw them lay these pavers down. And the university told me that was just them sort of cleaning up the area and making it more presentable for when students return to campus. So now that all that construction is done, students are on campus. They are allowed to see this quad. They're able to look at the amphitheater. They're able to see the new pavers that are on the ground. And also they unfurled a pretty massive American flag directly above it that sort of has been there since Monday. So it really has become sort of a memorial of sorts, nothing long-term, so to speak, in terms of a statue or something to memorialize the area. But it has been sort of deemed a sacred place, at least in this moment, for people to come, reflect, observe it, pray, whatever that they need to do in order to process their grief.
Thank you so much. We've been speaking with News Nation's national correspondent, Alex Capriello. Look, we also talked this week about building bridges through words. Well, look, Apple's new AirPods can translate languages in real time right in your ears. Could this be the key to connecting across cultures? We're going to dive into that when we come back right after our break.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370, or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Sign up for KSL Text Alerts. Get breaking news and traffic updates by texting the word news to 57500. Want access to exclusive contests? Text contest to 57500. Jazz fans, text the word jazz for breaking jazz updates. And Cougar fans, text BYU to 57500 for the latest on the Cougars. Message and data rates may apply.
Do you know why more homeowners choose Any Hour Services for help when it's time to replace their air conditioners? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and the main reasons people choose Any Hour Services is because of our people, processes, and convenience. People tell us all the time that there's just something different about having an Any Hour Services technician in their home. That's why most of our over 18,000 Google reviews mention our technicians by name. Another reason is our 7-step install process that we call the Any Hour Difference. It all starts with a needs analysis where you explain what you like and dislike about your current system. This helps us design and size a system that fits your comfort and efficiency preferences as well as your home's airflow requirements. As for convenience, most of our installs are completed in one day. We also have flexible, no money down financing options available, even if you've been told no in the past. So if you've been thinking about getting a new air conditioner, call Any Hour Services and schedule a free estimate today. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your RV, RV wins.
What, are you going to take the RV to the lake or clean out your closet?
RV wins!
Putting the dishes away or taking the RV camping?
RV wins!
Cleaning the fridge or taking a trip to the beach?
RV wins!
You might want to clean the fridge real quick because, mold.
We clean out the fridge, then take the RV out.
With Progressive, you can bundle your RV with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings in your RV. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states and situations.
University of Maryland Global Campus offers more than 55 flexible online certificates that provide short-term credentials and real-world skills you can use immediately. With a range of affordable undergraduate and graduate certificates in high-demand fields like business, AI, cybersecurity, data analytics, and healthcare, you can earn credentials quickly to help advance your career. Learn more at umgc.edu. That's umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
The KSL News Radio Movie Show comes to My Hearing Centers Friday from 10 to 1. But first, discover what My Hearing Centers can do for you. My Hearing Centers uses advanced technology to diagnose and treat hearing loss. These comprehensive evaluations determine the best treatment options. Then enjoy lifetime support with regular check-ins, cleaning, and maintenance. Call My Hearing Centers at 801-701-1629. 801-701-1629 for more details. My Hearing Centers has offices from Ogden to St. George.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Since opening in 1968, Columbus Community Center has fostered development, independence, and inclusion for individuals with disabilities. Their robust services include day activity programs, residential services, and more to come. Chief Executive Officer Christy Chambers joins us with more.
At Columbus, we believe everyone deserves a chance to contribute their talents to meaningful work. The Utah Uniquely Abled Machinist Program is our next bold step, training adults with autism spectrum disorder to become skilled CNC machinist technicians. In partnership with the Utah Manufacturers Association, Salt Lake Community College, and the Utah MEP Alliance, we're addressing two urgent needs: the 60 to 90% unemployment rate among adults with autism and the shortage of CNC machinists in Utah. This 12-week program combines 300 hours of technical CNC instruction with 180 hours of job readiness training. We go beyond training by providing personal job coaching, employer engagement, and ongoing workplace support. With an 85% placement rate in similar programs nationwide, we know it works. Together with creating careers, changing lives, and strengthening Utah's workforce, visit columbusserves.org for information on UUAMP and many more programs.
Programs like the Utah Uniquely Abled Machinist Program are transforming lives and Utah's workforce. Columbus Community Center is addressing skill shortages while strengthening our local economy and community. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
And expanded Inside Sources.
So before we get into AirPods, I do want to say this. We got a text that said props to all the police officers from all over the state doing their part to help make students and faculty feel safe at UVU. I'm doing construction on campus, and it brings me peace as well.
Wonderful.
So thank you
Yeah,
for that.
That's good to hear.
Okay, look, I saw the story. It's the New York Times. It says the new AirPods can translate languages in your ears. And so it made me think of like science fiction stuff. So in Star Trek, we have, I think, the Universal Translator, right? It can handle any language and the multiple universes, whatever. And did you ever hear of the book that I think, I can't remember his name, Life, the Universe, and Everything. Did you ever hear that?
Never.
Sorry. The translating thing that they have is a fish. Like they put a fish in their ear and then it translates. So we actually have more from Apple on how this works. It's super impressive, I think.
When you are together with someone who speaks a different language, like exploring a market abroad, AirPods Pro will help you understand them in your preferred language. Using a new simple gesture, live translation begins. Translating Spanish, while ANC lowers the volume of the person speaking, so it's easier to focus on the translation.
Hola, bienvenida.
Hi.
Hoy todos los claveles.
Hello, welcome. Today, all the red carnations are 50% off. And it doesn't just translate individual words. The meaning of each phrase is translated for you.
Okay, that's
kind of wild,
amazing.
right?
And what a game changer.
Yeah.
I mean, because let's face it, we Americans are not good about learning languages when we go to other countries. And I've studied Spanish off and on since I was in junior high school. Still pretty weak at it, but I would get one of those the minute they came out.
Well, I think they are out. That's why they're talking about this. It's so interesting to me. So we have Google Translate, which I think is also amazing. And if you need to communicate back, you can speak it. It'll translate it on your phone. You can show it on your phone. If both people are wearing these Translate earpods, they'll just do it.
You just have a
real
conversation.
time.
Yeah, and it's Apple.
Yeah.
AirPods.
Yep.
Apple's AirPods.
Yeah, they're $250 AirPods Pro, right? They started arriving in
stores. Are they
stores.
those little white things you stick in your ear?
Yep, that's right.
They just have translation abilities.
Yeah, that's the newest upgrade, and it's like it does feel like we live in a science fiction time, right? A science fiction world. It's really amazing.
Oh, that's gonna make the planet better. It's gonna make communication so much better. I love it. I love it. It's really
I really think it's
for
great.
Your ears.
Yeah, so I think I've told you and I think I've told our listeners I'm leaving. I only have one more week here before I leave to go to Ethiopia, which speaks Amharic, which does not have letters like I can recognize. But it's for my son's wedding, and my daughter-in-law to be said, make sure you have loaded Google Translate because it can even translate Amharic to English and English to Amharic.
You probably don't know the answer to this, but does the AirPod just translate every language, or do you plug in? I'm studying Spanish today.
I don't have the answer to that question.
I've gotta go.
But Google Translate has a ton, right? If they have Amharic on the phone, which they do, it really is. It's something really amazing. This is Amharic.
There you go.
It's super. It's like I have no idea how to speak it. Even my son adopted from Ethiopia. He's like, Mom, I've been trying. It's so hard.
I love
a hard
this.
Language.
This is the best news we've heard all day. This is incredible. I really
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I had the book wrong that puts the fish in the air. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Okay.
That's right. I think it's
what
the same
was the
author.
significance of the fish?
It was the translator. So the fish was like that was what their universal
their
translator
AirPod
was.
a fish.
That's right. It was a fish. It was a fish.
Their AirPod.
Okay, so there's something. Another texter said they have something similar they've been using in their elementary school called Kettle. The technology's been out for a while. I think that's so great.
Kettle?
Right? Kettle, like the pot and the kettle.
Fish,
yeah.
right.
Oh, yeah, kettlefish. It comes from that, maybe. I don't know.
There you go, yes.
So we're in our fun facts of the day story.
That was already a fun fact.
That was a fun
day.
fact.
Was,
our segment.
Awesome.
All right. So do you know what you're having for lunch today?
I don't know because I'll be driving my car. Anyway.
It's National Cheeseburger Day. Hello.
Ooh.
Everybody should have cheeseburgers today.
That's a good idea. I love cheeseburgers.
Where do you get your favorite cheeseburgers, or what kind are your favorite cheeseburgers?
Of course, you can never go wrong with Crown Burger.
Yeah,
and
that is true.
They make the best cheeseburgers because they're grilled, and there are a lot of restaurants that do the same thing. But I love those.
So I actually love my own ones that we do at home. Those are my favorite.
Right.
But have you ever had a Seven Brothers burger?
No, but I've been wanting to go to that because there's
They're-
one not too far from me, I think.
Yeah, they're so good. So they originally started in Hawaii with Seven Brothers, and now they've expanded several places. Utah's one of them. But I'm telling you, their burgers are probably 6+ inches high. Like I've had them a couple of times. You can share them with like 4 people.
Yeah.
I don't know how to get my
Right.
mouth
How do you
around
eat
it,
it,
but
right?
that's so good.
No, I like
Yeah.
the little small one you can bite.
Yeah. So, well, anyway, National Cheeseburger Day. Okay, on to our fun facts. Additional facts, I guess.
Yes, I was going to say.
Okay. So, on this day in 1850, the U.S. Congress passed the Fugitive Slave Law as part of the Compromise of 1850. So, that's not really a fun fact, actually.
The Fugitive Slave Law.
Yeah. It was part of the compromise that required citizens in free states to assist in capturing and returning escaped slaves, denying them due process, imposing harsh penalties. It's one of the things that really hardened the North and the South, right, because of this. But that was part of the compromise, and it was a concession, of course, as you can imagine, to the South.
Can I back up on something?
Yes.
Apple actually tells you how this earbud pod works.
Okay.
When you are together with someone who speaks a different language.
We played that.
Yeah, we did.
I'm an idiot. Never mind.
No, it's okay.
They just sent me this blip, and I thought, okay, that's a new one. Okay, go ahead. It's Cheeseburger Day. That's what the ad is.
That's right.
McDonald's
Oh, yeah.
is offering a 50-cent double cheeseburger on September 18th, which is today, to celebrate National Cheeseburger Day. 50-cent double. There's going to be a line. The offer will be exclusively through the McDonald's app. The company said in a news release on USA Today.
So once a texter just said, man, I wish I'd heard it was National Cheeseburger Day before I ordered grilled ham and cheese.
Close enough.
Close enough. Yeah, so there's multiple places that are holding specials today. Another texter said they love Seven Brothers. That's great. And somebody said their AirPods were only $169. So that's great. Okay, so back to another fun fact. The New York Times started publishing on this day in 1851. Guess what their first paper cost in 1851?
What?
2 cents. 2 cents a
2?
copy. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, for the New York Times, right? And then in 1947, so this would have been after World War II, but the U.S. Air Force was created as a separate military branch. Before that, it was under the Army.
The Army Air Corps.
That's right. And the position of the Secretary of Defense, now it might be called the Secretary of War, but the Secretary of Defense position was created on this day in 1947.
Yeah, my son's in the Air Force,
Right, you
and
said
they
that.
sing a song, Nothing Will Stop their U.S. Air Force. It
Yeah.
used to be the Army Air Corps.
Yeah, that's
Same
right.
words,
So
yeah.
you know that my dad was career Air Force, and I have 2 brothers that served in the Air Force as well. So, and then on this day in 2020, Ruth Bader Ginsburg died of pancreatic cancer.
Oh.
2020. That was the day. So,
I
5
did
years ago.
a follow-up before we break, and that is that the fellow that had the children in his tractor trailer, I looked up to see if he'd been charged yet. He has not yet. And the man who made the threats against UVU, I looked up to see if there are charges filed yet. Nothing. I was hoping that we'd have an update for our listeners. So, and more about that, the Emery County man who has been arrested after police found 2 young girls inside his refrigerated semi-truck will be talked about midday with Maria Chaleos. She has some more developments straight ahead.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
KSL FM Midvale. KSL Salt Lake City.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time is 12 o'clock noon, and this is Midday. I'm